We gather in the cosmos bright. Stars and ships take flight tonight. In the void where dreams do play, soul citizens lead the way. Borders fade in nebula's light. Unknown worlds will chart tonight. Through the galaxy we soar. Endless journeys at our core. Borders fade in nebula's light. Unknown worlds will chart tonight. Through the galaxy we soar. Endless journeys at our core. Starry roads in endless skies. Soul citizens we rise. Charting courses never lost. Together the verses crossed. Squadrons call on the horizon. Battles fought, our hearts aren't frightened. In our ships we face the dawn. Soul citizens carry on. Oh, planets spin and light years fly. Boundless space where hopes reside. Motherhood in every star. Soul citizens, here we are. Borders fade in nebula's light. Unknown worlds will chart tonight. Through the galaxy we soar. Endless journeys at our core. Starry roads in endless skies. Soul citizens we rise. Charting courses never lost. Together the verses crossed.
Hello, hello. Greetings, greetings. Welcome back to the Soul Citizens. I am GriffinGamingRPG. Today is Sunday, June the 14th, and we are back. And I say we as in myself and my good friend and co-producer, fastcart FC. How are you, my friend?
I'm doing well. I got Earth, Wind, and Fire on my brain this weekend, so I'm ready to
Oh,
groove tonight.
Oh, yeah. You still thinking about the documentary? You enjoyed it, huh?
No, I had him in the song has been in my head all day, so yeah.
Yeah, that's good. Awesome. Yeah, Earth, Wind, and Fire is one of those bands that, anytime I listen to their music, there's certain artists that they sit down just as relevant and contemporary today as they did when they came out. And you start thinking about the fact that EWF was out in the frickin' 70s, I think.
Yeah, I mean,
the 70s.
I was watching the documentary, and the first album that I remember, because I remember the 7-7 cover. I forgot the name of the album, but it had the pyramid. The first one, the pyramid. And I remember just staring at it, thinking, "What is that?" Because I was a child back then. I didn't know nothing about the history. I just was interested in the artwork, so that's what fascinated me. So that caught my attention. So yeah, I remember them from that. So it's been over 50 years.
Yeah. Maurice White was a visionary. In fact, many of the guys that were in Earth, Wind, and Fire went to school here, and my brother actually knew them and played with them for a while. And he told me some really interesting stories. In fact, this is weird. I don't know why I didn't think about this. I have a program from their Spirit tour over here that has the signature of all the Phoenix horns and everything in it. The actual big book of a bunch of signatures. I don't remember. my brothers, it was my brothers, but he was able to go backstage and see all of them, and he was able to get all these signatures in it. And I've been saying I want to give it to an Earth, Wind, and Fire fan because I'm into them, but not to that degree,
No, not me. If you have a Janet Jackson thing, I'll be a different story.
Oh yeah, I'm sure. Yeah, that's true. But awesome group. Well, anyway, thank you guys for being here today. We've got some quick shout outs to give to some folks who got here nice and early. We've got New Soul Sounds kicking us off. Blackwater Goat. Oh, you're here today. Good to see you. Sandgroper was first though. Sandgroper, good to see you. Glad you're here. Pops in Space. Maverick. The prisoners out there. Thank you. Jade is here. Hey, Jade. Good to see you. Glad all of you all are here. And we're hoping that you guys will get to enjoy our show. We're going to be doing some unique stuff. We're going to announce this a little bit later, too. But this week's show and next week's show, as you can see in the screen, we have a section called Guest. And on occasion, we have done these shows where we'll open up the lines and let you guys come in and talk to us. And the show this week and next week are going to be like that, particularly because of the topics that we're talking about. Now, if you guys don't want to come in, completely understandable. Y'all know fastcart, he will talk. I don't have to worry about having somebody talk. He will talk. But if you guys...
And I told jokes too.
Yeah, and tell jokes too, yeah. But if you guys want to come in on the topics that we're talking about, then you all will be more than welcome to. There should be a link that will pop up. This will be later, so it's going to be for the second half. So if you see the link pop up right now, ignore it. When we get to the second half of the show, that's where we're going to have the live call in, where people can call in
here's an incentive.
Yeah.
If you want to prevent me from telling jokes, come in and talk with us.
Hurry, step right up. Okay, so we'll see what happens. All right. Well, anyway, it's good to see you guys here. Chauvin, good to see you out there. And Captain Jones, see you as well. Danger Hobo, good to see you. Thank you guys for being here. Okay, so, we've had an interesting week. Well, each week it seems to be interesting in the Star Citizen community. I can tell you that much. Yeah, this has been a humdinger, as they would say. First off, once again, we want to say, as we said last week, we want to say Happy Pride Month. As you guys know, Star Citizen, anytime they have these celebrations, there's usually something that they're doing. Sometimes it's a cook-off, sometimes it's artwork, sometimes it's things that you do in game. But we do want to give a shout out for Pride Month during the month of June here in the United States. In some places, it's not a big deal, but here is something that we celebrate. And I was saying last week, I wish we could get to the place where we don't have to have these designated months to celebrate folks, that we just celebrate people all the time. But until we get there, this is a place to start. So we want to once again recognize Pride Month for the month of June. FC, Star Citizen. We've been talking about this since last week, that there has been this particular patch 4. I think we talked about this all the way back from when we were in Defense Con. And I had expressed some concerns about the amount of content that CIG had dropped. And I felt like, hey, there's just a lot of stuff, a lot of changes, new things, implementations that they dropped that to me kind of felt like it's a little bit too much, especially around Defense Con and a free fly and everything else. And lo and behold, as time has gone by, more and more things have cropped up in this particular patch. And I've heard people say, oh, this is the worst as 3.18 and blah, 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 blah. I think it's more of a 3.18 was a hit because it knocked people completely out of playing the game. Like a tremendous amount of people couldn't even log in.
Couldn't log in.
This is different than the server lockout thing. People couldn't even log in. And literally for 6 weeks, 7 weeks, many people couldn't get into the game. This one just has a lot of problems, bugs, missions that don't complete, things that disappear, inventory that can't be accessed. We can go down the list. I won't even get into stuff like the ironclad separating and all that other stuff, but there were just a lot of things that were broken. And even though there were workarounds for some things, it was just to the point where it was like just constant. Yes, Jade, IDIC. You know it. That's right. Go back to my Star Trek. Anyway, I got distracted when I saw that because that's one of my favorite things. IDIC is one of my favorite things. I used to have an IDIC necklace, but that's a whole other story. Anyway.
Okay.
There's just a lot of little things that have all become like one big thing with this particular patch. So Nakul last week put out this notice. This is on Spectrum. If you guys haven't seen it, we dropped in the chat there and you can take a look at it because it's very detailed. What we have here is just a snippet of what he wrote. But he said, we've seen a lot of reports and feedback come in since the release of Alpha 4.8.1, and the teams are working hard to address the issues that have been raised. This just came out just 2 days ago, by the way, guys. We just got this on Friday. Before diving into that, we want to acknowledge that some of these issues are having a significant impact on your game experience. Our teams have been spending a great deal of time investigating reports, reviewing logs, reproducing issues internally, and deploying fixes where possible. While some issues can be resolved quickly, generally, though, a hot fix others require additional investigations to fully understand and address. We wanted to share where these things currently stand on some and most of the visible reports. Please note that the list is not exhaustive. Now, I'm not going to read this list because it is an extremely long list, but I do want to encourage you to click on the link that fastcart dropped in there so you can take a look at it. There are several categories they have here. They have a category called currently investigating, which says the following issues are actively being investigated, tested, or reviewed by the team. Then there's another one called pending implementation. These are potential fixes pending implementation to the live version fixed internally. Then there's a category which is very small called fixed. It says the following issues have been fixed in the current live. Yeah, it's only like 4 things in the live version. And then they say there's additional reports that they're tracking. And the teams are also working hard on some other issues. It says we'll continue to share updates through the patch notes threads on Spectrum. For known issues and available workarounds, the known issues thread remains a great resource and is regularly updated as new information becomes available. We'll also continue to keep you informed through the status page. And many of you guys have seen this week, when you log into the launcher, you've seen that says the servers are degraded. There's degradation, and it's been staying up there. It really hasn't gone away. FC, a couple questions for you. One, what have you been hearing? Or if you want to answer, what have you been experiencing? Either one of those is fine. And then I'll kind of toss in some things that I want to say about this whole buggy game that we have right now.
Yeah, I put in the link for the status page, but that's a good one to bookmark if people have seen it before. I haven't been experiencing. I've been hearing missing stuff. It had been broken, or they try to complete a mission and they lose the inventory or the cargo or stuff that they need to complete the mission and stuff like that. So that's what I've been hearing.
Yeah.
Oh, but I did want to add, speaking of that, I mean, this, I see, maybe I'm just an optimist or maybe I'm just a half-glass, half full kind of guy, but I see that the CID is learning what to do for when the game actually goes live in 1.0. If they have an issue with stuff like this, they can see how many people they have to pull out of other departments or other resources so they can try to get this stuff fixed sooner, or maybe try to improve on communication in the future, hopefully. But hopefully this will be like I said, this is different from 318. They probably learned different lessons from 318 than they're learning in this patch. So hopefully, in the future, when stuff like this happens, it'll be a shorter time period before it gets fixed. But like I said, I'm the optimist.
Yeah. Well, I'm going to say that hopefully you're wrong in that this doesn't happen when we're at 1.0.
Hey.
No. Understand what I'm saying. I'm not saying that there won't be problems, but this type of problem should not happen at 1.0. One of the biggest things that people have been complaining about, one of the biggest things is not just the bugs, it's been the communication. We've literally gone weeks before Naku finally put out something saying, hey, we know what's going on. And people have been submitting tickets, they've been testing, they've been doing all these things, and there was nothing coming back saying, hey, we're aware. People have been putting in things, not getting responses in their, as in the concierge and things. So I think that's been something that I say we had this conversation before. This is a real problem we've talked about this with communication with CIG, and we don't know what the reasons are. If it's personnel, staffing, are they just being silent because they know what the situation is? But many people that I've talked to and heard and watched in the community are saying they just wanted to hear something like, we hear you, and they haven't even heard that. So it's great to get this list, because the list does show that they're very much aware of many of the problems, and they even say this list is not exhaustive. It doesn't cover everything. But because there were so many things, and what I mean by this is, normally when there's something wrong with the game, you can kind of say, okay, that's not working, I'll go do so-and-so. The problem was that it was like, this is not working, I'm going to go do so-and-so, then so-and-so wasn't working, then you went to do this, and then that wasn't working. And it was like this chain. And it became even the most simplest things. People who were mining would mine, lower their stuff into the storage area in their hangar, and come back and it's gone, right? People would put things into their inventory in their suit, in their backpack, and it would disappear. Or they would take the items off and put them away, and they would stop working. I mean, there was just like all these little, very fundamental aspects of the game that were problems. One of the big ones that's been happening has been the elevators not working. Elevators, particularly on landing zones, have not been working. So those of us who are haulers, we want to go out, not bothering nobody, just want to go drop some boxes off down on the moon. You get down there, elevator doesn't work. And so there's nothing you can do, right? You've just got all this stock now. So I'm just saying, there's like a little bit of everything in this one. I think that is really bringing a lot of frustration with folk, you know. But to your point, these should be learning experiences for CIG. I'm just saying, by the time we get to 1.0, everybody can understand something not working in a patch, but communication and not working for a patch for weeks, that's not going to be good. And we're going to be talking about that a little bit next week when we talk about our show about the community. But anyway, that's that. The known issues thing in fastcart. Do you think that this week, with the introduction of the Raylan, do you think that that's going to lead us to a 4.82 and fixes, or do you think it's just going to be the release of ships and fixes might come later?
I am 60-40 that it'll be a new patch.
I know it's going to be a new patch because they got to put the ship in. I'm saying, do you think the fixes will be there? Or do you think
Oh,
it's
yeah,
just
yeah.
going to be
Just,
about
I'm
getting the ship
60-40
out?
that the fixes, yeah, that's what I mean. I'm 60-40 the fixes will be in.
The fixes will be in with the patch. Okay. All right. That'll be interesting to see. Okay. Next up. The June 2026 store bundle. Yeah. As you guys know, Alien Week is approaching. It was going to be a week from now, but it's this week coming up will be Alien Week. And CIG introduced this store bundle. And fastcart, I screwed around and didn't write. Where's the description for this? Oh, this month, embrace Alien Week with the new Zykara, I'm assuming that's what it is, Zykara bundle, featuring marbled metallic bronze over a black base. It includes a Siang Fabrications armor, Siang Fabrications armor, a Ultiflex Novian crossbow, and a paint for the Gatak Sayulan. All right, Fastcart, I'm gonna let you go first on this. Any thoughts?
Well, you know how I typically think about this is whether or not I want it. I do want that crossbow, but I don't want to pay $20 for the crossbow. Even for furthering helping the development,
Okay.
I'll get the crossbow, but I mean probably in game someday. But yeah, $20 for a crossbow is not for me. I know some people who did it. Montoya said he got it for the crossbow. I'm like, well, good for you.
Well, you know,
but
but
the other thing is,
you said something a moment ago. I remember earlier, if I'm remembering Pops and them, I thought, didn't somebody say that they got the blueprint for the crossbow? I thought some people got. Why don't you just get somebody to make it for you?
no, okay, all right.
I mean,
Maybe
that's the whole point
all
of
right.
crafting in the game. Just get somebody to make one for you. That's easy enough to do. But anyway, go ahead.
No, but also the armor does look good, though. I mean, the armor is really, I don't want to say, I mean, it's unique to me. I don't know of another armor that could do what this one does. When you put the helmet on, you look like an alien. You look like a Xeon. I was mistaken and thought it was a different alien at first. But yeah, so I don't want to get shot by accident, so that's why I'm not going to get the armor.
Okay.
But for me, that's for me.
Wait,
It
what
looks
do you
cool,
mean? What do you mean you don't want to get shot by accident?
Someone mistaken me for an alien. People like Togi shoot aliens first, ask questions later.
Yeah. Okay. All right. Well,
How about you?
I'm going to say this. I bought it because I collect the alien stuff in the game. That's my collection, is alien stuff. And I did not know that the helmet contained the visage of a Xi'an. I just saw it and saw the armor and I got the Sayulan and I was like, oh, this is everything in this package I want. So I got it. And it wasn't until I put it on and, turned it on in Discord for people to look at it. And I looked up and said, there's a turtle head in there. I did not know that was going to be the case. So in a way, I wasn't that thrilled about it, to be honest with you. I wanted the unique armor. The visage thing inside of it, I really didn't care about. And, now that I'm looking at it, it's like, okay, but I actually I thought it didn't have it in there. And so the thing I'm a little frustrated with about that armor is that I love the design of it, but it only covers maybe a third of your body. There's a flight suit that goes along with it, and it's light armor, which is fine. I don't mind that aspect of it, but there's a lot of exposed area from mid torso down that's very, very exposed. And I would have loved to have seen them continue the design, the Xi'an design, in other ways throughout the body, even if it was something around the waist as a belt, just something else that gave it a little bit more oomph. It feels just a little lacking, The crossbow, I wasn't too worried about that. It's nice to get it. I love the Sayulan, and so this was another distinct paint for that one as well, which I thought was pretty nice. So, like I said, the alien stuff is stuff I like to collect, so this one was definitely a win for me.
You're one of the few people who I've heard talk about say that they actually like the skin or the getting for the skin, or the skin matters to them. Most people either want the crossbow or they like the armor, or the skin comes in third place. Well, it was third place. You discussed that last.
Yeah, well, that's only because I was doing it in order of what we were talking about. But
okay, all right.
But the Sayulan skins, all the Sayulan skins I like on those ships, and this one, and for me to get another one, it would have to stand out. You know what I mean? Because I like all the ones I had already, and this one stood out enough for me to say, hey, I definitely like this. Now there are some people who implied that the Sayulan, I don't know if you know this, fastcart, the Sayulan's been buggy with its buttons.
Yes, I do.
Yeah, you've heard about that? Okay. Well, I kind of noticed when I went back to last week when I went to the buttons and they were working. And so there were some people who implied, they better get them working if they're going to sell this bundle, right?
Right.
So that might be why they made the buttons work. I went one day and the buttons were, they were wonky. You had to kind of feel around, and I got in and out, but you definitely had to look for it. I came back about 3 days later, and boop, hit it the first time. Opened up like, oh, okay, the buttons are working. So maybe that was a fluke. I don't know. I haven't done it since then, so maybe I'm just dreaming, but I felt like the buttons were working on the Sayulan after this happened. So
I will say this: if they put the skin out for the railing, I might get that skin for the railing.
Yeah,
the color.
Yeah. It actually would be very cool if they do things like that, where they match up certain like ship types with the skins. You can have it in the same another ship. That would be actually kind of cool. And they've done that with some of them. I know my MISC ships. I have that where they ship those certain paints that I have match up with.
Sometimes RSI too. Nice. Yeah.
Mm-hmm, yeah. And speaking of the railing, as you mentioned it. This week, CIG did a behind the ships, and it was on the Gatak railing. So let's take a quick look at that. It's a very short video. For those of you who haven't, we know most of you probably have, but let's take a look at it.
Multiple times.
The Gatak Raylan is an alien medium hauler from Gatak Industries and prioritizes speed of loading and unloading cargo by having it all on the exterior. The Raylan is our first dedicated cargo hauler from an alien race, and this is an important moment in that a lot of our other alien ships are combat focused. Just like us, they also need an entire suite of ships to be able to fulfill what they do every day in their lives.
So one of the things that we really wanted to push with our alien ships is just that distinction from kind of human manufacturing techniques and alien manufacturing techniques. We kind of developed this idea that they had this really kind of advanced systems that would allow them to be able to almost kind of grow their ships in the shapes that they wanted. So things like the really big armored plates that are on the front of the ship. The idea was that these were naturally mined materials rather than having to kind of go in and extract these materials and then refine them and refine them and refine them.
I had to stop thinking like human and start thinking like Xi'an. How would an alien design shapes, movement, and technology?
With the Xi'an specifically, they have a lot of control over how they can manipulate different structures. So with the Raylan, it has this really distinct state change between its flight silhouette and its landed silhouette.
The original concept had triangular cargo containers themselves holding the cargo inside, but now during production we've changed that to use standardized cargo grids. That means you are not constrained by any of the mission types that you would have had before, having to manually load all these cargo units into custom cargo containers. Now you can just turn up to any location. It supports up to 32 SU containers, so you can just load them on easily, offload them easily.
We have 2 size 2 tractor turrets that sit on the bottom wings. 2 rear bridge seats each control one of these turrets and can use them to add and remove cargo from the cargo grid as they like. The turrets move with the wings. You have an okay view when the wings are deployed, so when you're flying around in space, but when your wings are in the landed position, you have a really, really good view over the cargo grids. And for those who really appreciated the original aesthetic of those triangular cargo pods, we've retained the signature triangular elements of that as a deployable armoured shield over the cargo beds. The shields themselves are a physical barrier that stop projectiles from hitting the cargo themselves. Obviously, having it deployed makes the cargo very hard to take off, but offers that protection. This essentially makes a sort of hybrid interior-exterior cargo ship. You get the benefits of both systems. You have the ease of loading of exterior cargo, as well as the protection of interior cargo. And then as a further benefit for those of you like counting boxes, we also managed to increase the cargo capacity from 320 to 640 with these changes as well.
On the railing, you can enter the ship one of 2 ways. So if the ship is landed, you enter through a lift at the very bottom. And if you are in flight or you're in space, you have a docking collar on the top rear.
The elevator shaft is a really nice central part of the whole ship. It's the first thing you see as you walk in, and it leads you through every floor. You can see all the way up.
A lot of our human ships tend to be quite flat, quite long, whereas what we've tried to develop is this idea that the aliens prefer a little bit more kind of verticality to their ship. The middle floor of the ship is all habitation.
The habs are very strange when you first walk in. You kind of have a big bank of these pods that feel quite strange and different to the kind of habitations you might be used to in a typical human ship. But at the same time, it's incredibly cozy in there. You kind of have to crawl into the space. You have all this really nice stonework that covers the bed. We carry on this same sort of motif of these ribbons that sort of run around every part of the ship, which you can imagine is kind of carrying the energy and the power from the engineering and powering all these rooms.
We try to make it feel quite relaxing, quite calm. So they brought in these waterfalls that run down the sides of the walls in the mess area. On one side, you've got the bathrooms, and on the opposite side, you've got the food preparation area. As this is an alien ship, it caters to both the Xi'an and the humans. So for the humans, you've got a chow line where you're able to get your food and your drink.
Alongside the very specialist Xi'an food area.
Are these the ones that eat poop?
These are the ones that eat poop, or are these the ones that poop squares? I can't remember. These are the turtles, but they behave like birds.
And then off to either side, we have a small room that has a small bench and like a viewing out over the front of the ship. We've got the 2 escape pods on either side and also the turret access. Finally, if you take the elevator up to the top floor, it takes you straight into engineering.
The engineering is really kind of imposing, and it just feels very important. You can tell that there's a lot of power running through this room. Your different component bays all around the room facing you, and they all open up with the impressive Xi'an tech grav plating all moving out of the way. The alien design comes in with quite how wide these component bays are. There's a lot of room that accommodates more space needed to access them than just a slim little engineer who's making his way in. You also have these beams that are coming across the ceiling, and you can tell that there's power thrumming through these ribbons that are coming from each of the component bays. It's a really, really interesting room, and it was a lot of fun to work on.
As you go towards the front of the ship, you're into the bridge area, and this probably has one of the best views out of a lot of ships that we've done.
There is 4 seats floating on air, so that feels like it's totally alien, uncanny thing. When you enter the seat, they're rotating with a fancy flying animation. I hope that they feel really wow effect, because it's pretty different than the usual ships we have.
The cargo capacity of the ship lends itself to the vast majority of cargo missions, so it's great for cargo players, and it's not short in the firepower category either. It has great turrets and pilot-controlled weapons as well as missiles.
I think whole the team did their job so fantastic.
It looks cool, sharp, aggressive.
Very happy with it. I really like the overall aesthetic on the interior, and the design is an interesting way to use this sort of tall 3-story ship in still actually quite a small space.
This ship is for someone that wants to go out with their friends, they don't mind taking on a bit of danger, and they want to look a little bit different, a little bit cool doing it.
Okay. Raylan, FC, give me your thoughts and feelings about it now that we actually see it in engine, in game.
How many thoughts you want me to give? I can go. No, okay. I'll try to be short. I'm happy that it's still medium because it looked quite a large in the well, not just in the IS in the behind the ship, but in general it looked kind of large. But I'm happy it's still medium because they doubled the size from 320 to 640. So I was wondering whether or not they made it bigger, but evidently not. The engine sound, I heard the engine sound early on in the video. That sounds great. I'm looking forward to hearing that. I like the little fishbowl and the butterfly terrarium. Is that how you say the word? The holographic thing. I like those. They said it has a lot of power running through that one room, but it had the lights out, so I'm not sure how you're supposed to tell it had a lot of power running through that room. But in regard to that, Nico posted, the interior lighting shown in the video is using auxiliary lighting mode, so it's intentionally quite dark. The default lighting uses a different color palette and is noticeably brighter regarding that issue with the lighting state they are aware. So they're talking about the combining two posts, but this is the auxiliary mode. I don't know why they use the auxiliary mode and the IS in the behind the ship. And
I think it was probably accidental. The video team is a different group of people, so they may have just turned it on, who knows, and it was in that mode. By the way, I'm glad you mentioned that because we had some people the other day who asked us about the lighting, and there are a lot of people, fastcart, that didn't know that you could change the lighting even inside of your ships. A lot of people were unaware that there are different stages of lighting. So for those of you who don't know, if you've never tried it, if your ship has 2 or 3 other buttons beneath the main button, quite often one of those is an emergency mode and another one is an auxiliary lighting. It's usually some type of softer lighting that reduces the lighting. Now, whether that's going to be something significant, like it reduces power within the ship or whatever, we don't know. But there is like a full-blown lighting, and then there's something that's kind of like a medium, and then there's the emergency lighting. So if you haven't tried it out on your ships, take a look at the panels and have fun with it. It's one of those features that a lot of people several people told us, I didn't know that. I'm like, wow, that's been in the game for quite a while. Not all ships have it, but quite a few ships out there do. But quite a few ships out there do.
Yeah, it's kind of like a dimmer. The some people have it in a house or apartment or condo.
It's like a dimmer. Yeah, it's like a dimmer.
Yeah,
it's very cool. And even when you go in the habs, the habs have it. So if you go in the habs, lots of times people just run out the habs, but you can turn the lighting and change the lighting in your habs too. But
and my last thought is, I've been saying this since the first concept when the concept released. I am worried about how EMP will affect this ship. Like, will it shut down everything, or will the doors still work, or what have you? So I'm curious about what an EMP will affect that ship. But yeah, those are my thoughts.
That's I would think that I've been in ships and been EMP'd before, and my door is still open. So I don't think it's just because this uses the GrafTech stuff. I mean, I remember I was in my C2 once and I got pirated. And the elevator still ran. You know what I mean? I was still able to get off the ship. And so I don't know if they're kind of looking at there's some type of backup power, like emergency power that's just enough to open doors. I'm assuming that's it, because you have several ships that don't have any type of access to even get from floor to floor. The 600I, for example, is one of those ships. You have to use elevators to move throughout that ship. There's no ladders. And so if you're on the upper deck, you cannot get down to the mid deck at all on that ship without using an elevator. And so I've always had that same question about what happens if an EMP happens or power is lost. Will those elevators still work? So that's a very good point, Fastcart, that you're mentioning.
But
Anything
I
else?
love the design. I'm looking forward to it. That's
Yeah.
about it.
Do you think, how faithful do you think they were to the concept? Do you think, because this was kind of a
I mean-
way out there concept when it first came out?
I'm glad that they cut the not the holographic, the graphic, the grav tech and stuff like that. They changed a few items, but I'm okay with that. The one thing I was not concerned, but curious about was the cargo loading, because in the original concept they had those triangle boxes and stuff like that. They said you can stick the normal SU boxes inside those triangles. So I'm happy that they found a way to make it easier for people to just stick it on and stuff like that. And then you got the protective shielding coming on to cover those. So I think that's a good compromise. Some people may disagree, but that's how I feel.
Yeah. It's an interesting discussion to have about stuff like that, because there's one group of people that might feel that, yeah, by going to the standard container units, you're making it very human-like, right? Some people saw that distinctive triangular design as being maybe unique to Xi'an, but from a gameplay standpoint, that would have been a whole different type of conversion, probably. Might have been some other issues with that with gameplay. I like both scenarios. I do like the uniqueness of the triangular thing, but at the same time, it's kind of like, okay, it's still a game, And so, do I want that level of detail? Yeah, in my brain I do, but gameplay wise, metrics, cost, value, bringing a Xi'an box over to here, and a lot more work involved, and maybe in time something like that would happen, but it is what it is. I'm not going to bark about a container, right? To your point,
right.
The bulk of the concept is there.
Yeah, I was going to say, it felt like maybe 85% of the concept is still there.
Yeah.
Around there, maybe 70%, depends on how you want to look at it.
Actually, I was going to say a little bit more than that. I think you're closer to 80. I know one of the distinct things that changed was we talked about this the other day, was the component area. It was supposed to be more of like a Lazy Susan kind of thing, where you could say what component.
I had to look that up when you first mentioned that.
Yeah, but and don't get me wrong, that's a cool idea, but it ain't that practical if you're in an emergency. You know what I mean? If your power plant is the 7th one back and you got to bring that thing all the way around, you'd be dead. So the fact that they did more of a very cool room is actually very nice, and you can access things. And I think we can look at other ships like the Perseus. There's some ships that literally have a full component room where most of the components are in there, and so I do like the fact that they did that. But I think, let me ask you this question. Is the Gatak Raylan, okay, first of all, and try to think back when I ask you this question, because this is in retrospect. Why did you buy the Raylan?
I bought it for the cargo capacity, and I thought it looked cool. And it was, back then, it was three.
No, we're talking about pricing. I'm talking about pricing. Screw pricing. I want to know why you bought this ship.
No. The cargo capacity was 320. It's 640 now. Cargo
capacity. Okay, it's 320. Okay.
Yeah.
But you bought it because it was a cargo ship.
It looked cool, and then with the alien and the cargo, and utility and stuff like that.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
And
Okay. So the reason why I'm asking is because there are a lot of people who are not into alien ships, right? They don't care what it is. They're not into the alien ships, right? And then there are some people who maybe have never bought an alien ship, but they like this one, right? And my question is, are they liking it because of what it does, or are they liking it because of what they're seeing? Because there are other cargo ships out there. A Hull B is just 100 and some odd units less than this, right?
Right.
If this ship, and we can talk about price in a moment. Matter of fact, let's talk about
that's
price.
What I was going to bring up. Yeah.
Original price was $220 cash.
Yeah, 220.
Cash.
Yeah.
Okay. So what do you think this ship is going to be next week?
My original thought before I saw this video, I was thinking, okay, let me get the background. The Hull B, which is, like you said, 100 SUs less than this now. That used to be 256 cargo, and now it then went double to 512. And then the concept was $90 war bond, then it went up to 140. And then after they doubled the SCU count, it went up to 280. So it doubled from 140 to 280. Now for this, like I said, 200, 225 war bond to RSI credit. My original thing before I started this video, I was thinking maybe it'll go up to 300, 320. Now that I've seen this video, 380 to 400 easily because of the work, the alien tax, the coolness factor, quote unquote, and the cargo capacity. Because that's competitive to a C2 now. The C2 is also 400.
Okay. I'm going to say my numbers have shifted a little bit, and then after the video and everything, I'm going to actually say 350 to 375. Now, the reason why I'm saying that is something you just said. The C2 is at 400, and it has more cargo than this and more utility than this because it's not just cargo. You can put vehicles, you can put ships on it, you can carry a lot of people on it, so it offers a little bit more. What were you going to say?
I was gonna say, but the Raylan has tractor beams, so that makes it easier to load and unload. 2 tractor beams. The C2 doesn't.
So
Go ahead.
Okay. A Raylan has 2 tractor beams. I'm still keeping my price at
Yeah. I'm just saying. Yeah, I just wanted.
No, I mean, I get there, but I wouldn't even factor in tractor beams, right? Because it was a couple of reasons why I wouldn't. It's because if I was talking exclusively cargo, yes, but because the C2 offers utility, the tractor beams are 1/3 of it. You see what I'm saying? You can put ships in there. It's got nothing to do with a tractor beam. I can put tanks in there. It's got nothing to do with a tractor beam, right? So I'm saying it offers more options than this particular ship. Now, to your point, is alien tax still real? I don't know, because it didn't really hit that hard with the Sayulan to me. It was a little bit there, but not like it used to be back in the day when we were talking about ships like the Glaive and the Kartual and some of the other ships. It seems like CIG has pulled back a little bit on the alien tax thing. Mutachi, hey, good to see you. Oh my God.
Welcome,
OG, a serious Star Citizen OG. Mutachi, good to see you. Hope you had a good stream.
He's been around a long time.
This guy, listen, let me give a shout out to this man. Matachi is one of those founding fathers who was around when I first started paying attention to Star Citizen. He was one of the people who I first started watching back with him and gray-headed gamer. I say gray-headed games.
Captain Richard.
Yeah, I mean, this guy was one of the guys that laid down the foundation. So you all give some love to Matachi. He's a really good guy. I met him in 2016 in Los Angeles at Star Citizen Con, and he's a real good guy. So it's good to see you, my friend. I'm glad you're able to stop by.
Okay, what was your last point? You said.
So anyway, I was saying about the alien tax, whether that's really as bad as it's been in the past. I think they've kind of pulled back on that a little bit.
I'm gonna disagree.
Well, let me finish my point. you gonna track the beam here. Let me finish. You can say what you want to say. I originally said 375 to 4.25 on the high end because I was thinking alien tax, but because I'm pulling back a little bit, I'm going to say 3. If it exceeds 400, it's pushing on the C2 for me. That's the only reason why I fast cart. No other reason for me that I'm not going above $400 is because of the C2. Okay, so what are you going to say?
The alien tax is still in full force. The Stinger came out recently. It's $300 on RSI credit. So, and that's a heavy. That's the same price as the F8 Lightning. So yeah,
it's a heavy fighter. It's a heavy fighter.
It ain't no $300 ship though. It's not a $300 ship.
Whoa. If it is, how much difference you talking? $10? Look how much the freaking Origin ship was. Look, the Harbinger is $285, $290. It's a heavy fighter. It's only a $10 difference. I'm saying
the Harbinger holds more people though.
Yeah, but it's still a heavy fighter. I ain't talking about more people. But here's my point. My point is a $10 difference is not the alien tax of back in the day. The Stinger is a more recent ship, admittedly. But all I said, I didn't say the alien tax didn't exist. I said it's not as big as it was back in the day with the Kartual and stuff. That's all I'm saying. Okay. So I think that there will be. I think there will be a little bit to it, but I'm just saying I think they've kind of reeled that in. But I could be wrong. Hey, if they push it over $400, it's going to be really interesting. Now, I will say this: if it is over $400, will people still buy it? Because there's a lot of people who are oohing and ahhing at this ship.
Yeah, they are people. I'm wondering how many people got the whole B at 280 though.
A lot of people bought the whole B.
Yeah, that 280.
Especially
so
if they weren't
have,
especially if they weren't around back in the day. Because when you and I
That's
got
true.
it was $90. And they
Right.
raised it during concept time. They didn't raise it. They raised it
140,
up to
right.
140 way beforehand. So we were like, oh, okay, they increased it. And we expected that. What we didn't expect was that freaking doubling of price.
Yeah, no.
But if you didn't know, you know what I'm saying? It's like if you didn't know McDonald's cheeseburgers were 50 cents at one point, you don't care about the fact that they're $3. You see what I'm saying?
I still care.
So but I'm saying, but if you didn't know, you know what I mean?
Right,
So
right.
I'm just curious. I get your point. I agree with you 100%. Pops in Space is saying 380. Stinger is 315, says Jordan Munrecker. Thank you, Jordan Munrecker. Thank you. Who else?
Maybe that's the
Something-
Wolverine price. Okay.
Somebody else put some numbers in here earlier. Yeah, you guys put in what you guys think it'll be. Plague Dealer says a lot of people will upgrade their C2. That's crazy if they upgrade their C2. So okay, so I'm gonna go back to one more thing fastcart said, and then we're gonna move on because we're getting near the end of the show.
All right.
Because you said this and CIG said it in their trailer. Cool factor. How is cool factor really a factor in buying this ship?
I mean,
You said it.
depends
That
on
was
the
your
ship. It
second
depends
thing.
on the
That was
ship.
your second thing.
Yeah.
That was your second thing you said.
Yeah, I mean, for me, yesterday. I mean, but it depends on the ship. Like, I'm not gonna buy.
Okay.
I'm not gonna buy like maybe a combat fighter for the cool factor if it if it works and there's some serious DPS to it. Well, I did get the Ion for the cool factor, but that's a whole other thing. That's a whole other conversation.
I'm not against it. I'm not against it. CIG put it at the very tail end of this thing to look cool, right? It's just interesting that this ship falls into the category of cargo, which a lot of people don't do, but a lot of people in a way do because at some point they have to find a way to transport stuff, right? But it's very specific in the sense of cargo containers. As far as we know, you can't slap no vehicles on it. You can't attach no ships. It's just cargo containers, which makes it very somewhat specialized. So I heard somebody say, I don't think people should do this. Will they melt their hull B to go to this? Will they upgrade from their hull B to go to this? I don't know. There's some people who feel like the cargo is better protected on this ship, and the cool factor.
Yeah, the cargo is better protected. That's the other thing. And for me personally, I have the whole B and the railing. I might drop my whole B when the railing comes out. I'm not.
So you're not worried about the profile on this ship? How big it is?
Not really. No, I get used to it eventually. Hopefully. I mean,
yeah. So the people attacking you. So the people attacking you. You really don't care about that profile.
I'm gonna run away. Like I said before. You talk about the sneak peek, but you had to turn on the thing, and I couldn't figure out that from the railing. I'm not worried about the combat capability of this ship at all. Maybe defensive wise, I'm worried about that, but you can upgrade that.
Okay. Well, I'm telling y'all now, for those of you who decide to crew with fastcart, he doesn't care about any of the defensive or offensive capabilities on his ships.
And we running. We are running.
That is hilarious. That is so funny. That is so
I'm
funny.
just being real here.
I know. Hey, that's right. Keep it real. Hey, you want people to know exactly what they're signing up for, so I ain't mad at you. Okay, I am not mad at you. Okay. This weekend was International Bar Citizen Weekend. And for those of you who don't know what that is, it is this particular weekend every year. CIG actually hosts their own Bar Citizens at all of their studios. So in Montreal, in Germany, in Frankfurt, and where am I forgetting? Fastcart? Austin. They actually have a Bar Citizen. And developers, community managers, people like that come out and mingle with folks. All four of the studios do it on this weekend, and it was on yesterday. And I was going to try to go down to Austin Fastcart. I really thought about it. I was like, you know what? I could fly down that morning, fly back that night, and then I looked at the ticket prices. Fuel in America is not good. Fuel is not good. At first I saw it was like $2 something. I said, oh, that's not bad. I'll go down there and come back. Then I said, wait a minute, that's one way. I'm like, oh, that's not going to happen.
Oh, no.
It's not going to happen. Not gonna happen.
What kills
And
me
so,
because of my card, I always have to carry luggage. So that luggage fee gets me every single time.
oh yeah,
The baggage fee.
yeah. Especially since Southwest no longer does the free
Especially,
luggage
yeah.
thing. Yeah, at this
Right.
point, it's like, yeah, you gotta pay. But anyway, we did. One of our good friends went, and I don't want to show his pictures because he didn't give me permission, but he sent me some photos, and that was Paradise. Paradise went to the Frankfurt Bar Citizen, and he sent me some photos, and there was a decent amount of people there. He said that I think this is his third time going, and he said each time he's gone, there are more and more people that are in attendance. He couldn't give me a count because folks were spread out; they were inside and outside. But what he did say is that more and more people are attending these events. I don't know if any of you guys out there who are watching got a chance to go to any of the Bar Citizens this weekend, but if you did, let us know. Drop it in the channel. Let us know. Was it good? Was it fun? Did you see anybody in particular? I think that Paradise said he didn't bump into any of the devs. He did see the community manager and one of the former community managers, I think he said, because I know one of the other ones went to a different job a little while ago. But I think that was all. But I haven't had a chance to talk to him to find out how things went. But he said it was okay. You know, I asked him, was there any special goodies? I don't think there was. There was something he said. I didn't understand his message. He said there was something, but I don't know what
They had the little code for a new. What is it this year?
What did he call it?
It's something different.
Yeah, he called it.
It's not. It's not an 8-ball this time. It's something different. I forget what it is.
He said it was a scratch card. They made a tombola.
Yeah, that's a brand new thing. I forget what it is.
Okay. See, at least you translated that well. Okay. So yeah, anyway, he went to that. Okay. So anyway, that was this weekend. Okay. And here we go. Last but not least.
Chauvin says it's a brand new Broken Spear.
Oh yeah, that's right. The no. It's not the Banu, it's the Van. Yes, the Van Duel. It's the Van Duel. It's the Van Duel thingy. You know the thing that they show in the trailers, but it's broken.
I forget. I know what you're talking about, but I forgot.
Yeah, it's in a plaque. I remember now. It's in like a plaque mounted. I do remember now. Okay. Sneak peek this week, fastcart. Film, fly, and float. I have watched so many content creators talk about this, and everybody's got some. Either they don't know or they've got some of the, well, I'm not going to say wildest, but man, everything people are saying to me ain't making sense.
What are some of the things
do you think?
Well,
first of all, what do you think this is? First off,
to me, it looked like the bottom of an elevator lift for an alien.
Well, no.
ship.
Well, give me which manufacturer? Which manufacturer first?
It looked like Gatak, maybe.
Okay, so we'll agree with that. Gatak. Okay, and now what do you say? Now what now?
The bottom of the elevator lift, but it comes down to come down to the ground.
You have given the most smartest answer that I have heard.
It hurt you to say that, didn't it?
No. I was trying to think of the right word because I didn't want to insult the other people. You have given the most smartest answer that I have heard out of anybody. Because when I looked at this, I saw some type of what I thought looked like 4 openings, but I wasn't sure. And I couldn't tell whether they opened downward, they slid backward, or what.
Okay, I see what you mean. Yeah.
But when they talked about the fill, we figured, okay, you're putting something in it, whatever that is. Fly, we get that because it's a ship. But the float thing was what was messing with me. And then I kept thinking, is this going to be some introduction to how you bring things into the ship? Some gravity, some weird antique senses with the Xi'an thing, right? Is there going to be some, you know how like the staircase comes down on that ship where it floats down, where the platform actually floats down and you load something or you remove something or it delivers something using some type of floating mechanism. Now you really want to hear my fantasy. My fantasy was that this sucker was a Xi'an boat, and that's what float meant, that this sucker was going to go in the water. But I know that ain't happening. So since the only other option of floating is something that has to possibly do with gravity, I thought, well, maybe it's got something to do. So I think you get the trophy, fastcart, for the best guess that I've heard. Because I've heard everything from a scavenger ship, a mining ship. I've heard all the type of repair ship. I've heard all types of stuff this week. What are you gonna say?
And the reason why I say it's a lift is coming down because we're looking at underneath because the two things on the side, they look like they that's what hold the lift as it goes down. To your point, I see now those four entries look like maybe they spread open somehow, but yeah, it looks like a lift to me. That was my first impression.
Yeah, there's some
Lift.
symmetry there, and assuming that symmetry has something to do with how it operates and tied into the title. That's my only reason why I'm thinking that you might be on the good track there. So yeah, we'll see. We're less than a week away. We'll see what it is. If Stunner says it's the all new Raylan bomber variant, it drops the bomb.
Hey.
It drops a bomb out of the bottom. Yeah, maybe that would be interesting too. Okay, well, listen, we are going to wrap things up here with the first half of our show. We are going to take our 1 minute commercial break and then our 4 minute break after that. And when we come back, we're going to be in our show today called Better versus Different. And it's our call-in show. We shared this earlier before we left, that this week and next week, both of these shows are going to be shows for folks if they want to call in. If you want to. If you don't want to come in, you don't have to. Link is going to be in the channel for you guys. If you want to come in and talk to us and share your thoughts about what we're talking about today, you'll be more than welcome to do that. If not, we will talk. But we also would love, for this week and next week, we really want to hear some community response. If you just want to put it in the chat, you can do that. If you just want to put it in the question area, you can do that as well. We don't want you to feel uncomfortable. But we haven't had a good call-in show in a little while on the Sunday show, so we want to do that today. So let's take the break. And when we get back, we will begin that part of our show. So we'll see you guys in just a few minutes. Stay tuned. Hello, hello, hello. If you are here with us right now, that means you are one of our supporters and you are here because you enjoy what we do here. At least we hope you do. And I want to say thank you for being here on this Sunday, second Sunday in June, joining me in fastcart. We do want again to encourage you, if you'd like to join us this week and this show, feel free. This is going to be a great opportunity to hear some voices maybe that we haven't heard in a while. Also, next Sunday, we're going to be doing a show called Community Content. And it's not content in the sense of like game content. It's content, like the community being content and not being content and discontent. So that'll be on next Sunday. So you guys can come in and talk with us on that. FC, you got 10 seconds. I'm sorry, I didn't mean to take up all the time. Anything you want to say to folks?
Thank you all for joining us. Thank you all for supporting us. And continue to support. We appreciate it. Thank you.
All right. We'll see you guys in a bit.
On and on across the stars we fly, soul citizens, bringing us that endless sky. We each build up what we want to be, but together we're making history. On and on, on and on, on and on, on and on. Bringing us that endless sky. We each build up what we want to be, but together we're making history. On and on, 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 on and on, and all across the endless night. The stars we fly, soul citizens, bringing us that endless sky. We each build up what we want to be, but together we're making history. On and on, on and on, on and on, on and on.
to Johan, Captain Jones, Fastcart FC, GoMab ATL, Griffin Gaming RPG, Jade Star Watcher, Karate, Colossal, Serious Fun, Summer Geo, Unique, Yo Man!
Hello, greetings, and welcome back to Soul Citizens. I'm Griffin Gaming RPG, and I am joined by my good friend, the one and only Fastcart FC. You ready for the second half, buddy?
I am ready. That song always gets me. That song always gets me. I love that song.
Oh my God, Trip Rodriguez! Buenos tardes, my friend. Thank you so much for sending your lovely viewers over to us, and we hope that you had a wonderful live stream tonight, Trip. Hope you are doing well also, and hope everything is going good for you with the stream. And welcome, Raiders. We appreciate you guys.
Welcome, Raiders.
We're just starting our second half of our show, actually our main topic for tonight, which is different versus better. We appreciate you being here with us. Let's give a shout out to, I think we did already, right? Did we give a shout? Yeah, you did.
I did already, yep.
Beautiful. You're already on it. You're always on it. Okay, well, we have a lot to talk about today. And as we mentioned earlier, this week's show and next week's show, I guess we're going to do next week's show. Next week is Father's Day. Yeah. I think we're
going
to
talk about it later. You're going to do it all right.
Yeah.
See, talk about it later.
Yeah. Okay, keep an eye out, guys. It's Father's Day next week. Maybe we won't do the show next week. Maybe we'll push it back a week and take next week off. So, yeah, maybe we'll do that. So, yeah, okay, yeah, maybe we'll do that. Okay, because we want folks to, and in the States, for those of you who celebrate Father's Day, we don't want to, we want you guys to be able to do that and enjoy yourselves. And it's not a big deal for us to wait another week. Actually, it is on that particular topic. Ooh. Yeah, I don't know. We'll see. Yeah, that topic is really relevant to now. If we wait another week, it may not be relevant anymore. So we'll see. We're doing a show called Different versus Better today. And hopefully you guys will be able to kind of come along and join us on this. This is a call-in show. So if you want to join us, there's a link. Fastcart will put that link in again. If you guys want to come in and talk with us, you are more than welcome. It will put you into a queue, and we will bring you in, and you can share your thoughts, agree, disagree, difference of opinion, different perspective. We would love to hear it. But if you don't, feel free to type it in the chat. We'll try to keep our eyes on that, and hopefully we'll catch it when it scrolls by. But I want to kind of lay down some groundwork about what this topic is. And hopefully it'll all kind of make sense. And yeah, we're going to just go ahead and kind of start with that from the very beginning here. And we want to deal with this phrasing of different versus better. Okay. And this isn't just in relation to gaming. This is just a general concept, and you guys can feel free to do your own homework on this if you want. But you can Google it, you can AI it, you can do whatever you want. I did a little bit of everything, a little bit of research to pull this together. But this is kind of related to consumerism. So just kind of keep that in mind, okay? In a crowded market, trying to be better forces you into endless, exhausting competition or over incremental upgrades in price. Being different, however, means forging a unique path, allowing you to stand out from the crowd, avoid comparison shopping, and capture your audience's attention. And I want to kind of start with that, okay? Distinguishing that there are some distinctions between better and different. It doesn't mean necessarily, there are times when better is appropriate, where better works. But better can often lead to a sense of disappointment in expectation. It can also lead to mediocrity, or it can lead to a trend of something. And we're going to equate this to gaming too. But I do want to say that a lot of this can kind of be used in a lot of different areas of life. We're going to go through some of this core philosophy. And Fastcart, if you need to jump in, just jump in at any point. Anything you want to jump in there before I get into this core philosophy thing?
Nope, you're good.
Okay. All right. So let's talk about the core philosophy. Better means incremental improvement. You're playing the same game as your competitors, just trying to score a few more points. Different means a new game. You change the playing field entirely, rendering direct comparisons irrelevant. The ultimate goal, often, the most successful approach, is a deliberate and thoughtful blend. Better is almost always different. And different always and different allows you to create your own category of better. The reason why I'm equating this to gaming, and also for your consideration when it comes to Star Citizen. Trip, I see you. Thank you, man. We know you're out there. Thank you. If you make it back in, we're happy to have you. But if not, you have a good night. Is there something here that's mentioned about the same game as your competitors and trying to score a few more points? How do you feel about that, Fastcart, when it comes to game playing? And I'm not just speaking about Star Citizen, but I'm just speaking about gaming in general. Is there kind of like that gaming is kind of built around this idea of competition, like all the time, most of the time? Is it some of the time when you're looking at how games are designed and what's offered for players these days? I know not every game is about competition, but I'm just saying, do you feel that that's something that's out there?
I mean, do you mean competition within the game itself when it comes to players, or competition between the games themselves when it comes to
referring to
Call of Duty
players.
versus...
Yeah, I'm not referring to like manufacturers. Yeah, I'm talking about in gaming itself. Do the gaming manufacturers create this attitude of competition? Not against each other, but for players, for gamers, right?
Yeah, the players. Yeah,
right.
They tend to, especially like MMOs. Well, it's very rarely that the MMO is purely cooperative. Like some of the Final Fantasy titles, the online ones, those they have very little PvP, and the PvP don't really matter. There's no leaderboard and anything like that for Final Fantasy, especially 11. I'm not sure about 14 anymore, but competition in most MMOs is a big thing, and the creators, developers of the game want that, especially like something like EVE Online. Competition is everything in EVE Online. So yeah, it depends on the game, but most games have a lot of competition, in my opinion.
Yeah, we were watching some guys last night. We were watching Burke Black and some folks play Baldur's Gate 3. And one of the things that I really enjoy, and I'm sure those of you who have played Baldur's Gate 3, is that you can play Baldur's Gate 3 solo. Right? You can use the NPCs and go through the game by yourself. But there is something that is to be said when you play with a group of people. And Fastcart, you're familiar with Dungeons and Dragons type of games, right? You've got a tank, you've got a healer, you've got a magic person, you've got maybe a bard or a cleric, whatever. But all those different folks have their own, even though everybody takes the journey together, everybody's journey is a little different. You know what I mean? The cleric's a little bit different than the tank, right? Their stories are going to be slightly different, even though they're all taking that journey together. And so, do you feel that there's competition in that type of scenario? Or are people focusing on competition? Maybe that's a better word.
No, people are not focusing on competition in those scenarios, in my opinion. No, but they can be. But typically, no. Like maybe you have two damage dealers. They may say, "Oh, I'm doing more damage than you," but something like that. But very, very rarely especially like a D&D, especially tabletop. Not really. But for Baldur's Gate,
go ahead.
I'm not sure. Go ahead.
No. Go ahead. What were you gonna say about tabletop?
No. I said for Baldur's Gate 3, I'm not sure about the competition.
No. There isn't. I mean, in those situations, you've got a situation where everybody benefits when everybody contributes, right? And whether you're like a level 7 and somebody else is a level 12, as long as you're contributing what you can contribute, everybody's pushing forward, right? So to your point, I've never played a D&D game and somebody said, yeah, I killed more people than you did. It's like, the question was, did we get the treasure? You know what I mean? That's all we cared about at that point.
Maybe if they role playing between an elf and a dwarf, like in Lord of the Rings.
But that's role play. Yeah, if they're just talking trash. Yeah, talking trash is one thing. Yeah, talking trash is one thing. But I'm saying that's not the thing that you're not sitting there counting bodies. You know what I mean? When you're fighting, you just want to get through the scenario, right? And survive, right? And so I'm mentioning that because there's a dynamic that the gaming industry has tapped into that creates a competitive spirit in people, even when there are times when it doesn't have to be, okay, when it doesn't have to exist. Satisfaction can come from outside as well as inside in gaming, okay? So I want to talk about that in the sense of difference and better, right? Because better is, I think, what you see repeated more and more in the industry. And I think there are reasons why better is done more and more out there in the industry than different is, okay? Why different beats better? Oh, you know what? And by the way, if you guys want to come in, don't forget, fastcart, drop that link in. Did you put it in for them? We're going to put the link in again for you guys. Okay.
Yeah.
It's pinned. Okay, it's at the top. So fastcart's got it pinned in. If you guys want to come in, we're trying to keep an eye on that chat queue if anybody wants to come in. I know you're still trying to figure out where we're going with this, so but when you're ready to jump in, just do. Okay, why different beats better? Better is easily copied. If you improve a feature or lower your price, your competition can match it almost immediately. Different is hard to replicate. Your unique brand story, specific target audience, or proprietary method cannot be simply duplicated by a competitor. Better demands a price war. Competing on better usually traps you into a race to the bottom where the lowest price wins. Different commands a premium. Customers are often willing to pay more for a highly specialized niche experience that perfectly suits their needs. Okay. Give me some thoughts, Fastcart. When you hear this, when you read this about the better differences, any thoughts on that?
The first thing come to mind is like the Call of Duty franchise. They aren't so much different. They try to proclaim that each iteration is better, but there's only so much you can do when it's the same formula for a franchise like that. But something like
do they claim it's better or different, or do you think it's both, or do you think it's better?
I think they want to say it's better, but in my opinion, it's not different. That's for sure. For me, for Call of Duty.
No, I know you're saying to you it's not different. I'm saying, what are they saying? Are they saying when Call of Duty 7 comes out, it's different than Call of Duty 6, or are they saying it's better to you?
I think they're trying to say it's better.
Okay.
In my opinion, yeah.
I say different. You know why? Because the scenarios change. Like it'll be Call of Duty Modern Warfare. It'll be Call of Duty World War II. You see what I'm saying? But the formula when you go in is better. The different, the different is like it's in a different place. But you know what I'm saying? But the gameplay, they made it better because they added a different grenade. You know what I mean? But the mechanic of what you're trying to do is not that much different. You know what I'm saying? To me, I could be wrong.
Yeah. Now, a whole different franchise, maybe Final Fantasy. You have up to 16.
Okay.
Each one is different.
Okay.
Sometimes it's better depending on who's playing the game. Because someone who plays Final Fantasy 7 or 8 may prefer Final Fantasy 7 because of the material or certain aspects of Final Fantasy 7 versus 8. So that's different and can be better depending on what platform you're going. Because if they go from PS1 to PS2, that's gonna be better.
Okay.
Graphic-wise.
Graphically, okay. You gave an example earlier about better and different. Remember when we were talking before the show?
Yes.
And I said, why don't you give that as an example? Because that's a good way to give an example.
So a good example would be phones. Like when the first Samsung Note came out, it was different and better. It had a bigger screen, and it had the pen, the Note pen, and you do more stuff with it compared to a typical smartphone back then. Then it had the Note 2, Note 3, Note 4, and what have you. They seem to always iterate it and made it better iteration to iteration to iteration. Now it comes like the last few years they get done with the Note. They still have the Samsung S line now. It seems like the better is more. It doesn't seem to be better or different anymore. It seems like maybe like there's a small change and maybe like how your camera processes the images and stuff like that.
That would be
So,
better. That would be better. That would be a better. If a camera on the tablet went from 16 megapixels to 24, is better. That's better.
But I was going to say like MKHD, which is Marcus Brownlee. He did a video about a month ago, saying like for the most recent phone, they only switch between two sets of cameras in the last 4 or 5 generations. So like it may improve processing or how it processes the image, or it may change like how it focuses and stuff like that. So if you buy a S24 versus the X26, you'll get the same camera capability as like an X23 and X25. Those have the same capability, but between the X25 and 26, those will be different.
Is it different or see? That's again different. I want to make sure you're saying the right word. Because that's why I gave the example of when I talked about the camera increasing megapixels. If a camera goes from a 16 megapixel to a 24, that makes it better. It's not different.
No, I'm saying like. Do you
agree with what I'm saying? Do you agree with what I'm saying?
Yeah.
That's not different, right? It's better.
Right.
Okay, I just want to make sure we're on the same page with that because I hear what you're saying about the difference in the phones. What would make it different?
The most recent phone has like a privacy screen on it. So that for some people that may make it better if you want that privacy capability. Well, I think it hurt the frame rate though. It's not as high. Or maybe it is high, but the resolution or something. I forget the exact details for that specific thing. It's been a while since I saw the review.
Okay.
But yeah, so they made more features available to us, but it may not be good for everybody or may not be used by everybody.
Okay, so can we say that different distinguishes something from other things? Is that another way of looking at different?
Okay.
In other words, if you buy something that nothing else offers,
okay,
is it different at that point?
Yes.
Okay, but if you and I just upgrade our camera to a higher megapixel, that's better. Right, but there's no great innovation to different, right? But if
at some point you may not even notice.
Well, yeah, but I'm just speaking in general though, fastcart. You're going too deep in the weeds for me. I'm just trying to make sure we're distinguishing different and better, right?
Okay.
So that people understand where we're going here, because the argument that the point I would love to bring across is what distinguishes Star Citizen. Is Star Citizen about being better, different, or both? Right? Because a lot of people seem to be looking for something different, but there's also a lot of people that seem to be just looking for better. And I don't know, what do you think people are doing? Are they looking for a better space game?
Excuse me. Yeah.
Better than what's been offered?
And for me, when I came in 2014, I was looking for a better space game and different. I was looking for both. And Star Citizen offered that, at least for me. And I think that's the case for a lot of people who came in during that time period. Now, there's a lot more competition. Some people may be looking for something different, in my opinion. Because, I don't want to give specific. I mean, the first thing that came to my mind is Starfield, but that's a whole different conversation. Oh, but we do have 3 people in chat queue. I don't know if you noticed that.
We do? Okay.
Yeah. I don't know who came first.
I'll leave it to your discretion. Whoever you want to bring in, you can bring him in.
Let's bring in ESC. Well, ESC is muted. Escape 907.
Are you there, ESC? If you're there, unmute for us, and we'll bring you in. He may or they are. I'm not gonna say he, they, because we don't know who it is. Okay, why don't we go to Fist then? If ESC is muted.
Okay. All right. There we go.
Hey, what's up, gentlemen?
Hey, Fist, how are you?
All right. So basically, trying to understand what you guys were saying. Why is
so am I?
Better Yeah, I was trying to wrap my head around. I know this is very subjective. Very. This is very subjective. Okay. To wrapping my head around it, to try to be short as much as possible. Why is different better? Beats better. You know what? I was sitting back thinking I can give you why different sometimes is worse.
Okay.
Anthem.
No, I would say.
I
Well, I know.
what you're coming
I agree
from.
with you saying.
Go
Yeah,
ahead.
I was about to say the same thing. I could understand why you say that, because different, just because it's different does not mean it's successful. Right? It doesn't mean that it's going to be. And we haven't tried to equate that yet. We are trying to distinguish different over better, though. Right? Because you could still have failure in either of these scenarios. Either one of these, better or different, could still have failure in them. Right? But we do want to let people have a distinction, because there are people who are looking for a better experience in something, and that's fine. And I think my thing about this is that the gaming industry, has spent a lot more time on better, because that's an easier path. But to be different, to your point, takes a lot, right? Because Anthem took a lot, right? It took a lot. You know, when people have tried to do different, and to Fastcart's point, when he mentioned Starfield, when you go back and read Todd Howard's comments about the development of it, he got about 4 years into it, and his statement was, "Now I know why nobody makes games like this," because it took them 7.5 years. That trying to create something different is can be a much more difficult task, right?
Right.
So. And I'm kind of saying that Fastcart was saying, like, when he first came in, he was looking for better and different. I wasn't looking for better. I was looking for different. I'll be honestly, back when I came in, I was looking for something different, because I had done Star Wars Galaxies, I had done Eve, and those were very different games. They were space, but they were different. And I wanted something different from those games. Right? I didn't want a better version of those games. I wanted something different. And that was me. And to Fastcart's point, everybody's looking for something, some people are just looking for better. Some people are looking for better and different. Me, mine was really different. Yeah, right. Some people looking for both. And there's nothing wrong with that. Yeah, absolutely. Nothing wrong with that.
And I'll give you an example of a new game that's coming out, and I'll move on from there, is Exodus. And like I spoke to Fastcart about it, when I saw the elements of Exodus, it reminded me of what I saw from Mass Effect. But I also saw some elements that I saw from Anthem. So I said, you know what? Sometimes it's not necessarily that I need for this thing to be different.
Right. Just a better version of something that's out there. Yeah. There you go. And there's nothing wrong with that. And that's why, they sell. Right. That's why stuff sells. Exactly. Right. I'm not complaining about it from the consumer side of it, because if it satisfies the consumer, fine. Right. The challenge is on the developer side. Right. And all I'm saying is that developers will lean more toward better than they will toward different.
But I understand what you said, though. I'm sorry, go ahead.
No, I was going to tell you something. Years ago, I went to go pitch a film, right? I pitched a film to Lionsgate, right? A script to Lionsgate.
Right.
And everybody I let read my script thought it was fabulous. They thought it was so good. I mean, industry people, people in the industry thought it was great. Oh, take it to Lionsgate, will probably go for it, blah, 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 blah. I took it to Lionsgate. Lionsgate read it, and this is what they said. They said, this script is really amazing. But you know what? We're not looking for this right now. What we're looking for is something more like, and this is when Tyler Perry was becoming hot. They literally said, we want something like Tyler Perry stuff right now. They wanted a better version of that.
That's the problem.
Coming in with something that was different. They acknowledged it, but they were like, we ain't lined up to do different. We're lined up to do better.
Same thing with music. Same thing with music. When you see the music industry, what is hot?
Yeah. What's hot, right? And that's what you go for, right? Yeah, there you go.
That's where that's where it is, because something different comes along, and they're like, okay, wait, yeah, it's cool, I like it. But
another good example would be superhero movies. MCU had their own thing, and they were different and better, in my opinion. And then DC tried to come along. They were different, but not necessarily better.
Yeah.
You know who was different in the music, and that's my last thing. You know who was different? They didn't know where to place them, and unfortunately, this group was great. Mother's Finest.
Oh yeah. Sometimes you can be so different
could
that
be
you can't, because you can't be categorized.
because they didn't know what to do with
You don't
them.
know what to
Are
do
they
with
a
you.
rock
Yeah, you don't know what
band?
to do with
Are
you.
they an
Yeah.
R&B group?
Yeah, it's a good point. Yeah, that's a good point. Yeah, sometimes different doesn't, and a lot of times different doesn't do as well as the norm, right? The thing that's the status quo. Status quo can make a lot of money, but the person is actually different.
Exactly.
We've seen that in industries, period, though, in general, really. So that's just the way it is. Okay.
Yeah.
Well, that's
All
good.
right.
Thanks, Fist. Appreciate it.
Thank you.
Thanks, Fizz.
All right. Let's see if ESC is back. ESC, are you back? Unmute if you are. If we see you unmute, we're going to bring you in. You know what, Fastcart? Bring them up. There we go. Just unmute.
There we go.
Perfect. I feel good. DK Wildcat, thank you so much for that sub. We appreciate
Thank
that.
you for
And
the sub.
Colossal,
50
I'm
months.
sorry we missed you earlier. Colossal, thank you for that sub. We appreciate you, brother.
Thank you.
Appreciate you. All right. We got ESC here.
Feel kind of guilty cutting in front of Pops.
Oh, no. You were actually first. We tried to call you earlier, but you might have been stepped away. So you were number one. We're ready for you. How
All right.
are you?
I agree with I'm doing all right. Enjoying the summer as much as I can.
Nice.
Trying not to cook alive.
Yeah, really.
Really agree with a lot of the points that have been made. Like Fastcart was talking about how it differs from player to player, and like in my own experience, I was definitely looking for more different than better. I pledged in late 2015, and I remember it was the kind of the pitch for the Mark I Hornets that got me. And so I kind of got this image of kind of rock, paper, scissors, where, you know, like depending on what your ship is, you got something that's kitted to do better against this ship. And so I was thinking, you know, everybody has their role in encounters. So you get these fleets, and the way you want to have a more powerful fleet is you get a better variety. So that way you're more prepared for whatever you might come up against. And it feels like a lot of the players are after that kind of mindset, but marketing, it feels, is more focused on better, where like each new ship that comes out has to do at least marginally better than the previous one. The next cargo ship needs to have more capacity. The next fighter needs to have bigger guns. And I'm really big on the opinion that they need to set a standard where, like, if it's a heavy fighter, it needs to fit within a certain DPS range. You know, they can't keep pushing it farther and farther. And it's getting kind of ridiculous where, like, you look at the F8, it's you know, outdated now and kind of worthless compared to the matey. So I'm really big on that opinion, where I want more difference in the new ships that they give us. I want the different weapons, all the weapons, to be viable. Where right now everything is ballistic cannons. Why the hell am I going to run laser repeaters or something when, you know, the meta is ballistic cannons? I want to be able to use scatter guns or Gatlings, you know, but they're worthless right now. So that's where I'm at.
I think your points are spot on. I would say this to you as being around a long time. You've been around just as long as I have, just about. I got maybe a year and a half on you. Okay. I would tell you that I have seen every iteration of everything in here at some point being the meta, and it constantly changes. And there's never been a time where it just locked down and stayed down. And that is the one thing that makes me, and from past conversations that CIG has had, of saying that they understand that they don't want a meta in this game. I agree with you 100%. When you talk about heavy fighters, I think they all should be within a certain parameter of each other. And what will make the difference will be two things. It will be things such as the work that they're talking about with crafting, in the sense of whether you can, in other words, if you've upgraded your ship's armor to 3 and I'm still at a 1, that will give you some bit of a percentage of an advantage, but not to such a degree that if my skills are better than yours, I can still beat your level 3 armor, even if I'm in a level 1. So I think that as long as they continue with that formula that they talked about in the past, now the question is whether they'll do it. But if they do that, then I think the thing that you're looking for will happen. But to your point, it's important that that does, because there are some people who purchase things in here. We joked around earlier about people buying stuff because of cool, but there are some people who buy certain things in this game because they want to play a certain role. and they want that role to be important to them. And so, and they understand what that role is. They understand what a heavy fighter does, what it can and cannot do, right? And so they want to be able to feel that in a heavy fighter. They don't want to feel it in a heavy fighter and then go over to the light fighter and feel kind of the same way. You know, they want those distinctions. So I think you got some good points there, and I hope CIG does exactly what you're saying.
Yeah, they've definitely done a good job of painting a nice picture for us.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, we'll see what happens, though, right?
Yeah, and you can call me foolish, but I think the Aries will come around again. I think the Aries will have its day in the sun one day. Whether or not it'll last like a week or maybe 30 days, who knows? It'll come around again.
We just need to tell everybody that owns an Ion to just don't shoot fighters.
Right.
There you go. Right.
Don't let them know. Don't let them know how powerful
Don't
it
let
is.
them know. Right. There you go. Well, thanks for coming in, man. Appreciate you stopping by.
All right, man. Thanks for having me.
Okay. Have a good night. All right. Who we got next? We got Pops in space. Let's bring Pops in. Hey, Pops. How are you?
I'm fine. How are you?
Good. What you got for us?
Okay. Well, I mean, I can just speak for myself, my subjective point of view. I came into the game about 2017-ish, around there. And my son and I were looking for something different. And the difference that we saw was that you could get out of your ship and go to planets and go into different, let's call them bunkers or whatever. That's what I thought the game was solely. I thought that when you got in your ship, you became the ship and you just flown out. I didn't know you could actually have to get in the ship, walk through the ship. I was like, well, you know, what is this? And because this was my first space game, I thought other space games were the same. I was like, okay, you buy a ship, you Eve. I was gonna go try Eve, and then I found out Eve, no, you're the, you know, you become the ship. I was like, wait, what? So it was kind of like a combination of different, better for me.
Yeah.
And the thing that made it really different is the ships, the roles of the ships. I thought you would just be a fighter, you know, according to how much money you spent, how big a fighter you were. And I had no idea there was mining, salvage, exploration, medical. I had no idea there were all these different ships, and that's I'll use better for me, all these different ships. And then like we have now, the railing came up, and I love the point of fact that they're going into alien ships because they're designed different. They look different. They don't look like RSI. They don't, you know, look like Myth. So to me, I think the variety, that's better. So I'm on that combination, better and different.
That's fair. I think that's fair. I think a lot of people will fall into that same category with you, Pops. Fastcart's one of them. That's what he said. He's looking for both. Okay. Thank you, Pops. Appreciate you dropping in, buddy. All right. Let's go ahead and jump into this last one and then start talking about the game. What were you going to say, FC? I'm sorry.
Oh, I hadn't. I lost it. Oh yeah, I wanted to say, like, some people may argue how older games, especially RPG games, are better in the old days, old days, like in the 90s and 80s and whatnot, compared to RPG games today, because of the gameplay features, and you know, people are looking for how to speed run through a game as quickly as possible. But back in the day, they were there for the experience, to enjoy the game, to get some fulfillment from it. So people may argue how old games may be better and different compared to the games coming out today, especially RPGs.
Okay, that's a good point. Good point. Okay. Let's hit this last section, then we're going to start talking about some stuff with the game here. When to use which. When to strive for better. If you're operating on a highly standardized industry, such as a medical device or industrial software, where strict measurable performance is the only thing that matters. And when to strive for different. when you want to build a memorable brand, offer creative services, or break into oversaturated market where customers are overwhelmed by similar options. That third one is the one that is interesting. Actually, both of those are fastcart. And when we talk about the next subject for the games, you'll see what I mean by these two. Better, they talk about in standardized industry, right? In other words, medical industries, industrial industries, where there are definite parameters on how things work, and you can't smelt iron differently, right? You smelt it a certain way, right? You got to kind of stick to the rules in doing that, right? But there are some things that sometimes players will say that. Like one of the things I remember people using that line in was in relation to server meshing, right? Because server meshing is not new. It's something that's been done in games over and over again for many years. And so people were saying, oh, they're just doing a better version of server meshing, right? But the reality is that they're not just doing a better version, they're actually doing a different version of it, right? And so a lot of people have kind of just, because they've just heard of server meshing, they know it existed, the assumption is that it's better. The last part of the statement in different is the part I want to run past you, though, and it's the part where it says, if you want to build a memorable brand, offer creative services, or break into an oversaturated market where customers are overwhelmed by similar options. Do you think Star Citizen falls into that category? Because even though there weren't a lot of space games out, there were a lot of games out, MMOs and stuff, right? Do you think that this is kind of, the Star Citizen fall into that category where they're trying to break into a market that has been and does overwhelm mean themes or types of games, or does overwhelm mean the way games are? It's oversaturated. I should say not overwhelmed, oversaturated.
I'm kind of coming at this from a different perspective, because I back in 2014 where there were very few space games. It was EVE Online and Star Wars: The Old Republic, and Star Wars: The Old Republic is more FPS than space, because it's not really space combat, but EVE Online and then Star Citizen. So, but now you have all these games that come after 2014. Starfighter from LucasArts. Quite a few other.
There are plenty of games out there, space games.
There are plenty of games now compared to. So maybe I won't say it's oversaturated now. So Star Citizen still have a chance to break out as a different game and be memorable. But as time goes on, that it's becoming bigger and bigger and wider as more games comes out. So that's how that perspective I'm coming at it from.
Yeah, there's a thing I have a concern about for Squadron 42. I'm just saying this as a side note, is that I don't know what Squadron 42 is going to be. Remember we watched this one guy who was watching the trailer, the 45-minute trailer, the long one, or the 30-minute, the one that Richard Tyler did, right?
Yeah.
And remember the guy, he was into it, and then he was watching it, and then when it was time for, it was the scene when the guy who's the player is laying down on the ground because he fell from the turret, and he gets up, and the guy said, "Oh wow, I almost forgot. This was a game. I was so busy watching the story," right? And I wonder how much balance CIG is going to put into Squadron. Because if you remember Wing Commander was a story. It was cinematic. Sure, you had plenty of moments for action, but there were also storytelling moments throughout that. And sometimes I wonder if, because the industry has not been producing a lot of games in that style that Chris Roberts did back then, if he introduces that again, will people see it as better, different, or not like it? I'm really curious to see where that goes. I think that they know that there needs to be action. I'm just curious to see whether or not that as a story unfolding game. And it's kind of like when you play something like Battlefield, or even Call of Duty. There's like a story part of that some people enjoy doing the story, but there's a lot of people that could care less about the story. They just want to go straight to the multiplayer and the shooting, and that's what they want to do, right? The action, right? So I'm really curious to see, will Star Citizen offer something like that? And not Star Citizen, Squadron 42 offer something like that, or will it just be the total cinematic thing? And you know, I think there'll be some people who would love that type of thing because they've never experienced it. There'll be some people who will be nostalgic because they're wishing that that type of gameplay was out there again. They haven't seen it in a long time. But then I think there are going to be some people who's going to be like, man, this is boring. I thought it was going to be all shoot 'em up through the whole thing. I mean, I'm really curious as to what's going to happen with that. You know,
my worry is that there'll be people who are not expecting the cinematic experience and don't just escape or skip the cinematic stuff and just go,
just get to the
go
just get
straight
to the next part.
go,
Just
go
get to the
straight
action.
go straight to the next part, and then let's say,
Yeah.
oh, this game is too short, or
Yeah.
or this game is not as interesting because
Yeah.
you know they skipped all the interesting stuff, you know. So that's
Yeah.
my worry.
Yeah, that's a legitimate point. I would buy that for $1. All right, let's jump into this about better, different, and just any thoughts you have about this. Right? Let's talk about this. Okay, this is number one that I'm gonna put on the list, right? Because this is one that has been around a long, long time. The traversal system. Now, for those of you who don't know what we're talking about anything in this game that moves you around. Okay, whether it's an elevator. Whether it's the what they call the trams, whether it's the train, any of that stuff, right? Any of that stuff, okay? Better or different, Fastcart? What do you think they're shooting for here?
I think they're shooting for different.
Okay, now here's my question. If you're going to give me that answer, why?
Why? Obviously, I'm trying to think of why as I said it. We had Mass Effect. Mass Effect had elevators, and they had their conversations and elevator music and stuff like that going on in the game. Mostly, it was in Mass Effect. The elevator was just to a loading screen for the most part in that game.
Right.
In this game, it's not a loading screen. They're just taking you physically from one place to another, and it takes time to move you. Sometimes it's super fast. Sometimes it's not. Sometimes you fall through the elevator, but that's a different story. But so, in my opinion, I think they're trying to be different because
are they being are they being
okay,
different because of the game mechanic? And let me explain to you why I'm asking this question. Because we all know that elevators are not new in games. To your point, right? They're not new, but in an MMO, right? There is an issue, right? Because you and I can get, when we wake up in our hab, we can, if there's 8 floors, we can stop on those floors on our way down, right? And you might get off on level 4, I might get off on level 2, right? If it's a loading screen, that ain't gonna happen, right? Because an instance is created, right? But if it's accessible by everybody, then that elevator per floor is moving, right? Now I know there are some people who that this is overkill for them, and I can understand the feeling, right? I mean, the fact that I was in my 890 yesterday. I docked at a station, right? Because I was testing docking to see if docking was fixed. So I finally docked my ship, and on my ship I decided to hold down the F key and zoom in with the mouse, and I was watching I was looking in through the observation window way across the way, seeing the NPCs walking around, right?
Oh, okay. Okay.
Now,
You super zoomed.
Now, yeah, but think about this. Normally, that type of crap, you don't do that, right? Because you can, all this stuff, you know what I mean? Stuff that's out of range, you don't see. But I'm just saying, you've got all these different things going on. And if you had came up in the elevator on that other side, you know, at the dock where I was at, you would have seen those same 2 NPCs walking around, right? So my question becomes, is elevators a problem because elevators don't work, or because are elevators a problem because there's something they're trying to accomplish? Because obviously making elevators is not difficult in games. They've been done before. But in an MMO scenario, based on what they're trying to do, are even elevators different? Not just better. Not better versions of elevators, but different. And my vote is that they're different.
Yeah, that's what I said earlier. I said different.
Okay.
But I gave different. I gave different reasons.
No, but your reasons were good. Your reasons were good. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. So what? And the traversals, the traversal system. I mean, even when we talked about like trains, the trams, a lot of folks had problems with the trains over in New Babbage, right? It's funny how some people have problems with trains all the time. They get on trains and fall through them. Trains run them over, all types of stuff. I think I've fallen through trains twice, honestly, in this whole time I've ever played the game, only twice. Once in New Babbage. I've never fallen through the trains at Area 18. I don't know what that is, because people told me they've fallen. They've fallen down through there. I haven't had that happen.
To my previous point, though, some people may think the elevators and trams and stuff like that are just a pain because they take too long.
Well, time factor is a thing. Yeah, time. Yeah. And we're going to talk about that. We got that. That's coming up. That's before you even get there. Are you looking at the notes?
I'm looking at the screen. I'm looking at you, Griff. I'm looking at your beautiful face.
Speaking of what's next. Speaking of what's next. Actually, Fastcart gave us our entree to the next topic. Travel times. Okay. Now, the reason why I'm showing the star map is because, to Fastcart's point, people are already not feeling that 2-minute train ride. Right?
Whatever, yeah.
When we have a universe to look ahead to, right? Even if it's 5 systems, there's still time involved in this. And a big controversy this year, right, Fastcart, was about this whole thing with fast travel, right? Big conversation came up about it a few weeks ago. Better or different? What are your thoughts on this? Because you've played games where travel times were a factor. Eve is one of them, for example.
Eve is one of them, yeah. It's more different than better. But to me, it's kind of both. But it's more like I would maybe give it maybe 70% different, 30% better. And that's the ratio of how I would split that up.
What do you have what is the differences for you when it comes to travel times?
The difference is that you can actually get up and walk around your ship and do other stuff while you travel. The difference is the graphics of how it looks and the quantum and everything, the quantum effects. The difference is like the nebulas in the background for the, how everything looks when you travel too. When you go through a jump point, and that's an actual gameplay to make you interact with the ship as you fly through it.
Okay, so I would say the things you mentioned about getting up and walking around, the interactions and things like that are different. I would put the other things into better category because when you're in Eve and you're jumping through systems, it's a better graphical version of what you see in that situation. But I think your other ones definitely. I think you're right. There's a little bit of both. There's better and different in that, right? What else do you find in relation to travel times, whether it's an elevator, whether it's a tram at Orison, or whether it's a ship? Is there anything else that distinguishes better or different for you with any of that?
I can't think of anything that I haven't spoken of, but we do have someone in chat. I mean,
we do?
The chat queue, yeah.
Okay, all right.
I'm bringing up.
Okay. Who we got? Oh, we got Pops. Hey, Pops.
Got Pops.
Yeah, it's me again. I'm back again. Okay. All right. This topic on the fast travel. This is my personal take on it. You know, I've been in games before where you go to different places, and I think going to different places in Star Citizen is different. But I think they should give incentives, and I think they've kind of touched on it. The Illuminati, where you have to walk around, you got to find the envelopes and different things like that. The game rewards. I hope they do maybe a spin a little bit different to make going the long way better. Let me put it like that. Mm-hmm. If you go to a space station, there may be clues to other things that will make you go to these places. And just like they have for going through the jungle. If we're going to do this quick, fast travel jump from here to there, I hope they make going through jump gates worthwhile. Just like they said, they're going to be, when you're going through a jump gate, a opening may come up to a place where you can go in and discover new places. So, you know, I think CIG needs to come up with more and inventive things to make the travel. I like the travel. They got pool tables and things I hope we get to use. I hope we get to do cooking and things like that. So I just think they just need to become more inventive in that area to give more incentive. And, you know, that fast travel thing, I don't even want to open that can of worms, but but yeah, I like the traveling in the game. I like getting on the trams and things like that. I think it's really cool. I think it's one of the best things in the game.
Okay, all right. Thank you, Pops. Appreciate that.
All right.
All righty.
Thank you, Pop.
Good points.
Let me do this real quick, and I'll
Uh-huh.
grab Fist Face.
Okay.
Hey, Fist.
Hey, I give my point, and I'll piggyback off what Pop said. I want to go back to the game Mass Effect again.
Mm-hmm.
What made you play Mass Effect more than once? Was the point of fact that you learned that there were alternate endings.
Mm-hmm.
And the reason why I'm equating that is to fast travel is because it made you go back and go search for things.
Mm-hmm.
So the same way I think CIG can take a page out of that is that if I'm walking to the train, right, getting on the elevator, walking to the train, just like in Hitman or other games, you have dynamic missions that can pop up.
Mm-hmm.
You know, even though, yes, I may be on my way and focused to go do some mining or something like that. Hey, you know, I might hear a conversation that NPC X over here is having that might say, hey, listen, something over there is happening over there. Be careful, blah, 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 blah. You know, there's so many things that they could do to make, you know, to slow people down.
Okay.
That's just one. And I have to go back to Anthem too. Apologies real quick. One of the things that people were doing in Anthem was speed running past things, running past enemies and stuff like that. And what Anthem did was they slowed people down. They made every enemy that you jumped across could potentially drop a legendary item. So it slowed everybody down to go through the level and look. You know,
makes sense.
So that's my thing.
Okay, good suggestion.
All right.
All righty.
Thank you.
Thank you, Fist.
Oh,
thank you.
You got one more
Got one
person?
more,
Or
Admiral.
you,
Yep. I'm going to get to. We had 8 more things on this list. Let's get Admiral in real quick. Hey, Admiral.
Hey, Admiral.
Evening, everybody. How's it going?
Oh, pretty good.
All right.
So, yeah, I just want to piggyback on that, I guess, because he piggybacked on Pop's there, so I might as well piggyback on him. So, the one thing that the fast travel is from Mass Effect was, I think, pretty good for an RPG game like that, and you know, you see that certainly in like kind of the game here, but like the graphics, anyways. But the time that we have to spend, and like Pops was saying, certainly allows us to play that chessboard and MSR to go, you know, make a PB&J on my ship. If they probably will do that. I think this cooking is supposed to be a thing. So, but like one thing that this brings up the whole conversation now, which you guys, the whole conversation on agent smithing. You know, what does that do with the travel mechanics, and to be able to like be unable to travel to a system that's 20 you know, systems away, but I can do it like instantaneously. And I think that's where why the community kind of like, some of them were like open to it, and the other people were like absolutely not. That's completely against what I was looking for in this game, is to be able to just jump to, you know, my large org and to be able to just rampage every system every, you know, 12 hours or 6 minutes or whatever, how that would look. But I certainly do like, you know, jumping in an elevator and taking time to get there. I think it's a little too quick now, because they did speed it up, but yeah, I just think that they're on the right track. It could make people like steer away from Star Citizen. You know, they're like, oh, it takes too much time, but everything in this game takes a lot of time. And if an elevator is gonna like push them away, then they're not gonna like the game as a whole anyway. So it's almost like these little trials and little mechanics that you have to do. And if you're okay with, like, you know, loading boxes, you should be okay, you know, dealing with an elevator. So I think it makes it more immersive for people, but it also makes it more niche. So, but I think what we kind of, most of us have been following this game for so long, are like, we're okay with it being niche, and you know, and we're still going to get millions of people playing it when it goes 1.0. So,
okay, good points. I agree. All righty. Well, thank you,
Thank
Admiral.
you.
Appreciate you. Feel free to stop in again. Thank you. Let me say this to what all 3 of them have said. I think all of them hit on some very good points, and I think Pops is the one that really hit on it, fastcart, and it's the fact that stopping in time needs to be meaningful. Whether it's short or long, it just needs to be meaningful. If a person wants to go from A to B and not stop at those 3 or 4 stations in between, you know, let them do it. That's their option, right? But maybe they'll talk to somebody later on who says, did you stop at Epsilon Station, and you're like, no, I never stopped there. And they're like, dude, you should have stopped there. There's this, go to the bartender. There's something, blah, 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 blah. You know what I'm saying? There are things that people can stumble upon, and it's CIG's responsibility to put those incentives in there, right? And if those incentives exist, we don't need to know that they're exactly where they are. We just need to know that they're there, right? Which brings the curiosity aspects, the exploration aspect, right? If I stop and get some fuel, maybe I'll go up to the bar, right, before I leave, right? Or maybe I'll walk through the Galleria and hear somebody talking about something, right? In Elite, they have that. If you go into the station, you walk past people, you hear certain conversations going on about stuff that drops you hints to things. So if CIG implements those things in the game that give people incentive to stop, but if there's nothing there, right? If there's nothing but dust between A to B, you know what I mean? Why stop, right? Why stop? I don't think that we have to let me say this real quick. Admiral mentioned about the agent smithing thing. CIG said years ago the agent smithing was not going to be a thing. That's not going to happen. But I know people are looking for some variation of that CIG might do. And one of the problems with the fast travel things, guys, is that it's not just an immersion breaking thing. You start breaking time. Am I making sense, fastcart? In other words, you're existing within a certain time frame. If I jump someplace else, I have circumvented time in some way or other in the game, right? Which means that gives opportunity for a lot of other things to happen that break timeline for players, right? Because some people literally are jumping from time, they're literally jumping, you know what I mean, from one location to another and actually having an effect on how the gameplay takes place versus you who is traveling in your ship. Right, time passes differently for you. It's kind of crazy, but I don't think it's going to happen. I really don't think it's going to happen. No, I don't think it's going to happen. It would change so many dynamics about the game. But I understand people's concerns about it, and I understand CIG looking at it because it's just something that's out there. Now, let's talk about that and ask this question. Then you can say what you want to say.
Well,
if that were to happen,
but okay.
Well, don't forget it. Don't forget it. My point is on what I was saying. Is that time travel thing a better situation or a different situation at that point? How would you view it?
Say it again.
The time travel thing I was just talking about, would that fall into better for players or different?
Well, maybe I can tie this into what I wanted to say. Better versus different. There's this whole thing called respecting someone's time. Some people may feel like Star Citizen respect their time because they're here for the journey and they're here for seeing the vistas and everything like that, or maybe get exploring and traveling. And some people may say that, everything takes long. This game does not respect their time because it takes long to get from point A to point B. So, with regard to your question about being better or different, to me it feels better because I'm having fun while I'm doing it. But
what feels better? What feels better?
The travel time, the traversing.
Really, that's better to you. Okay,
because I'm seeing the visuals, like especially if I'm in a tram, I'm seeing the thing go by, and I know that if I see a ship go by, I know there's someone in that ship.
All right, let me help fastcart with my definition of better and different again. Better is not for you in that sense. Better is in the sense of what is happening in gaming. Is it better than what gaming does, or is it different than what gaming does?
Okay, so in that case, it's different. So
that's what we're talking about. Yeah. Because we can always apply better on a personal level. I'm looking at what CIG is doing. How is that impacting versus gaming? Why they're doing things the way they are, right? And I hear what you're saying, right? It is better, right? Because that's what we enjoy. It's a better way of doing it. But we're talking about CIG's distinction, and they're doing something different than what everybody else is, because everybody else is fast traveling, right? It's become the norm. It wasn't the norm a long time ago, but it has become the norm. Okay. All right, let's hit this next one here.
Kind of always been the norm, but except for EVE Online, but yeah.
When were you fast traveling in Zork? Or Ultimate 1?
There
was no fast traveling back in the day. All right, let's talk about this one. Touring. A lot of folks are looking forward to this aspect of the game, and there are other people who have no interest in touring, right? I don't know how many games there are out there that are designed. There is one that I can think of that's designed for you to be able to show people around, but it's NPCs, It's not. Excuse me for 1 second. It's I got to fix something here. It's not based
No problem.
around players. Does that make sense?
Maybe you
I
wanted
think in
to
elite, I think you can do touring, but it's NPC touring.
yeah, maybe you want to define touring versus exploration. Some people may not know. I don't know, or maybe that's
Touring is
in
just
there.
that.
I
It's
don't know.
taking people on a tour. It's literally, it could be, we could use touring for this example of people who want to travel from one location to another. Maybe you want to go to a vacation spot. Maybe you want to go see a certain
Okay.
planet, something like that, right?
Okay.
Exploration is going to be much more along the lines of like what CIG is defining is like the guilds and all that other stuff. I'll be right back. Why don't you talk about that for a minute?
Okay, so yeah, touring. You had different ships and stuff like that. He got the examples of the 890. That's definitely a touring ship because you hop in the ship. It's to get the VIP treatment. It's to, hopefully you get the VIP treatment unless you have lousy service. But yeah, as far as different versus better for touring and Star Citizen, well, it's hard to say for me because touring is not really in the game, especially when it comes to NPCs, or maybe like that. I foresee a day in the future where you can make a contract to someone and say, "Hey, take me to this place from this place," and show me around and stuff like that for players. I can see that coming, but that's like 1.0 past 1.0. For now, though, I don't really see touring as a gameplay mechanic per se. Or maybe I'm in the minority for that one. Hopefully, Griffin's coming back soon.
Yeah, I don't know if
So
it's a
there you
gameplay
go.
mechanic. Yeah, hang on a second, 'cause I'm trying to fix something here on my system. I don't know if it's a gameplay. I'm just using it as a. It's not a gameplay mechanic per se, but it is a part of the game. And my question is, people have kind of said, what does this have to do with a space game, right? That's been like the thing that's kind of come up with this conversation. I don't know. Do you think it's different, or do you think it's better than what's out there in gaming?
I want to say different for this one. Um,
Okay.
I mean, I haven't really had what are the games off touring.
Yeah, right.
I'm trying to think. Do you know of one?
No.
What
The only
game
thing I
offer
can,
touring, people?
yeah, the only thing, like I said, was Elite. I think if I'm remembering correctly, they have a ship in there that allows for transporting folks, and you get paid for taking them to places. But that's it, as far
Second
as I
Life.
remember.
Jade says Second Life.
Oh yeah, Second Life. Yeah. Yeah, absolutely.
Only
Okay.
one. Only one game.
Only one. Yeah, well, then it's definitely going to be different then. Okay. Let's do this one here.
Oh, we had Admiral come in.
Oh, Admiral came in? Yeah, bring him on in.
Yeah. Hey, Admiral.
Hey, yeah, I was just trying to. I definitely think it's like completely different because, or is it? Which one's different? Which one is which?
Different.
It's different in what?
Better and different.
Everybody forgets. Oh, better and different. It's definitely different because there's nothing like that anywhere else. And I don't know about Second Life, but the only thing that makes me even think that what could be similar would be like getting on one of those people mounts in World of Warcraft and having somebody just walk you around wherever you want to look at. And no one ever did that, but that's the only thing I can come up with in the top of my head. Because it just wasn't a gameplay that's in any game that I know of or any space game. So to be able to take somebody and be like, hey, because I think was it Dark Knight? Is he the one that does like the touring? Who's the one that does the touring ship? He has like a.
It was Dark Knight.
Yeah, they're like, yeah, Dark Knight. He's like, hey, we're gonna do a tour, in the 600i or something like that, and go to some place and hang out on a beach or something like that. That's what I see, and I just don't like right now. There's no game mechanic to be a tour service. To be those ships you see, cruising along the French Nile. It's just that's what touring really is to me. Is like sightseeing, and to be paying someone to do sightseeing and to provide protection so you don't get killed during your sightseeing. And somehow that's going to be a gameplay loop and you can make money from it. So, sure, I just found it to be very unique in terms of a game, a video game, where someone could just going to be like, "Oh, what'd you do this weekend?" Well, I showed around, 15 people, and we did a tour around, the Stanton system or something like that.
Yeah.
It's pretty wild to think about when you really sit down and think about it.
Okay, good. Well, thank you,
Anyways.
Admiral. Good points.
Have fun with insurance.
Yep. Thank you. To Admiral's point, there will be people who will do it because there's going to be some mission-based stuff, and then there are some people who just do that socially in the game. We know there have been people who've thrown barge parties on 600 Eyes and 890s already, right? Even though there's nothing in the Moby Glass, there are people already, doing that touring in the game. Let's go to insurance, fastcart, because this is we got to watch our time. Go ahead. What are you going to say? Go ahead.
I'll say real quick. I'm looking forward to whale watching when that comes out. That'll be definitely
whale watching would be another aspect. It'd be something different.
Any other game. I don't know if Second Life have anything like that.
Well, I'm not sure if there's a variation of whale watching where people can go in the game and go watch animals. We don't know what whale watching completely means either because it's supposed to be a tour. But if you're talking about something like that, where there's I don't think Jurassic Park you take tours, but if that's, but if you can do something like that, then absolutely you're right. That would be something very different. Let's look at this insurance thing because this is something. I'm not sure whether there's something similar game mechanic wise. Do you remember anything that kind of falls into this category of insurance?
EVE Online. EVE Online.
Help me out. I've forgotten. What is it?
EVE Online, if you pay a certain insurance, and I think they had different tours. I played back in 2011 or before 2011. You pay insurance, you lose a ship, you either get the ship back or you get money back to buy towards buying a new ship. Yeah. That's what it was. Yeah,
you get the money back. I remember that. Yeah. Okay. What about this thing about health insurance and cargo insurance? What about all those?
I have that comes in contract for EVE Online. If you that's more of a deposit stuff like that for EVE Online, but I don't know. That's different.
Yeah, but there's no insurance though, right? So I'm remembering, right? There's no insurance. Right. Yeah. So some people consider this money sinking. And I mean, it depends on if you want to say money sink is bad or good, right? I mean, you get money to spend it, right? Not just to accumulate it. So yeah. But I think when people usually think of money sink, they kind of think of it as a negative context, like it's hurting their bottom line or they're not making as much money because they have to pay for something. But that's kind of the point, right? Not just accumulating.
I agree.
Okay. Is this better for Star Citizen or different? Is it better in relation to other games or just different?
In this case, I mean, since EVE Online does it, I don't really see it.
Well, only does one aspect of it. Because I don't know if anybody's insuring their cargo. I'm assuming property. Okay. When I say property, I'm talking about you have your personal items and stuff, or maybe even your. I don't know if base building can. Okay,
so it's different. It's different and
a little bit of both, right? A little bit of both.
Yeah, both.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right, a little bit of both. A little bit of both. Okay. Let's. Ooh, yeah. Here we go. Damage versus destruction. Most people, if you've been around for a long time, you know that CIG has always said that the game would move toward a damage versus destruction model. Not that it wouldn't be destruction, but that damage would be the thing that's the most common. But a lot of people who don't know that history came into Star Citizen and all they've ever experienced is destruction, right?
Destruction.
They've gone out and blown an Idris up with a light fighter, right? Or, whenever they attack something, their ultimate goal is just to kind of obliterate it, right? But CIG is kind of flipping that script a little bit. And they're saying that it's not that you can't destroy something, but it's going to take a lot of resources and effort to do it. And that damage is actually going to be more the direction that most players will experience. What do you think? Better, different?
I'm coming at this from an old game, like the LucasArts X-Wing and TIE Fighter, those games had missions where you had to disable a ship. Not destroy it, but disable a ship in order to capture and stuff like that. So,
and that took a bit because you made sure you didn't destroy it. I remember that.
Right, yeah. Because sometimes one more laser blast
and that was it.
And you lose.
Yeah.
So when it comes to better or different, I'm having a hard time saying either in this case.
Yeah.
Because I've done it before, but it's been a while.
Yeah, I want to go to something Chauvin is saying. Damage and repair has been around since Ultima. Absolutely. I mean, I'm not saying that damage and repair is new. I'm saying the emphasis, right? Because most games, your goal isn't just to damage and disable. Maybe I should say disabling, right? Because I think that's where damaging moves toward. I should say disabling versus destruction.
Okay.
So forgive me, Chauvin, you're absolutely right. I want to lean more toward the disabling aspect of the game more than destruction. And that's the thing that I think, to your point, fastcart, I think there's a little bit of both there. It's a better way of doing something, but it's also different because most games, the goal is to wipe out whatever it is.
Yeah,
right.
Yeah.
For the most part.
Yep,
right?
I agree.
And even if it's not the goal of the game, a lot of times it's the goal of the player, right? To destroy something.
Yeah.
And usually because they find greater value. Well, it's because they might find greater value in destruction, right?
Or it's because the game has dropped, and in order to get the drop, you have to destroy it first.
Well, that could be a drop situation, could be it. But in this game, if you destroy something, you lose stuff. So are you going to blow up a ship that's carrying $1 billion in gold, right, for the sake of seeing it blow up? No, you're gonna, I'm just saying the value's got to be there, right, in order to do that. Now there will be some people don't care about the $1 billion; they're gonna blow it up because they think it's funny to blow up a ship with $1 billion on it, right? That's just what they're gonna do.
What make someone cry? Make someone
right?
Just
make somebody cry, right? That's it, right? They don't care about getting the gold off of it.
Some people just want to see the world burn.
There we go. There we go. There we go. All right, here's a big one. This has already started happening. Inventory limitations. For a long time in Star Citizen, we got used to having the magic bag of holding, right? Where you could carry as much stuff on you as you wanted to. You could put 6 sniper rifles in your backpack, stuff like that, right? At one point, I remember
put everything in the kitchen sink.
Well, yeah, I remember when you used to be able to carry two weapons on your back and carry a third one, and if you wanted to exchange them, you could with no problem. And they took that away, and boy, people were like, it was a problem, right? But CIG once again has been telling us that this inventory thing is going to become to what's more realistic and practical. And the amount of micro SCU and things you can carry on you is going to become very focused on what you're wearing. If you have the certain type backpack, whether you've got a certain type of belt on with certain pouches, all this other stuff, right? What are your feelings about that modular aspect of inventory? And even now, hangars, I think they said the ship hangars are now got a limitation on them, and you've got to scrap a ship if you have too many ships in your thing. Something weird like that they said the other day, right? Did you see that?
I don't
about the hangar limitation.
Oh, 25 ships.
Is that what it was?
Right.
Does anybody know remember what that limitation was they just talked about? Does anybody remember?
I think it was 25 ships. I heard it recently. I don't know if that was.
Yeah, it was something that they just talked about if you need more space, you got to scrap a ship or something. I don't remember what it was. I don't know if you got a ship that's dead in your hangar.
Oh, no, some people like to put their ship on the side. Like you physically have an extra large hangar, you put your ship on the side, so that way when you
not
lower
that.
and raise,
No, I'm not talking about that.
Not that.
No, you're talking about the amount of ships you can have out. I'm talking about they talked about something about I can't remember. Yeah, I can't remember.
25 ships.
Y'all forgive me because I don't have the
Double
thing in
Dog
my
said
head.
25 ships.
It's
per
the ASOP
landing
limit.
station.
Yeah, it's the ASOP limit. There we go. That's what I was talking about. Okay.
Okay.
Yeah, there's an ASOP limit now.
So for this question, I would say graphically better, but I wouldn't say it's different because a whole lot of games have some kind of implementation of that sort of thing.
Limitations?
No, the inventory.
No. I'm not asking about inventory. I'm asking about inventory limitations. To the point where
certain
you can only carry so much. I think there are games that have stuff like that have limitations on how much you can carry on you, right? But we just haven't had to deal with it in so many different areas. Like usually it's your inventory on you and maybe your bank or a chest, right?
I can go back to Final Fantasy VII. There's an inventory limit in there.
yeah. But in here, you've got dozens of inventory limits. Am I making sense? Like each ship has different inventory. Like you can't put the same amount on this ship than that ship. You know what I mean? So I'm saying there's all these limitations that are starting to come in. Here's a good example. Remember CIG talked about remember at one point we had volatile cargo?
Yeah.
Do you remember that? Some of y'all ain't been around when we
Especially
had
with
this. Right.
the shipping, you had to make sure that you didn't use quantum or whatever in order to protect the cargo. Otherwise, it'll explode. Yeah.
Exactly, right? So you know how sometimes people throw stuff on these ships, like your ship only carries 280, but you throw another 20 in there to make it 300, and the box is just kind of rolling around. I'm saying we're used to doing that type of stuff, right? That type of stuff will change maybe, right? And they say you may do it, but if you do it, your stuff may blow up or get damaged, right? Doesn't happen that much right now, but later on. So I'm saying I agree with you. I think there's a better side to it and there's a different side to it, right? It's going to make people think about logistics even more difficult as it continues to push forward. You know, it's going to become much more real to people in their minds, I think. Okay, let's go to, we only got a couple more of these to do. Ooh, law and reputation.
Oh boy.
Yeah.
Oh, we had someone come in. We got
oh, we did?
when we drag him in.
Yeah. Oh yeah, bring Almost in. Yeah, please do. He may want to talk about the other thing that was before this. Hey, Almost, how are
Almost,
you?
sorry, I missed you over there.
Yeah. You there?
Almost, you there?
Oh, there
you
is.
go.
Hey, let me go back.
Oh, I had my my thing muted.
Yeah, no
You
worries.
guys talking.
Where you want to talk about the inventory?
No, I want to talk about Law and Order. No, I'm
Law and
kidding.
Order.
Yeah,
Okay.
I do want to talk about inventory.
Inventory. Okay. All right.
Yeah. So I honestly I don't remember who I spoke with about this, but we had whoever it was, we had a pretty decent conversation a long time ago, months ago, about when the 2025 when it was before it was actually implemented, when they were still talking about it's going to be coming. And I see a lot of people in the chat talking about the usefulness of ships versus fast travel, and how it relates is because what I surmised was that the reason they're putting a limit on how many ships you can have at a singular location is to promote people to want to base build rather than living out of a hangar or living out of a hab, because then you know you're going to want your house or your building, whatever, so that way you can store all your ships there.
I'll give you another reason. You want to know another reason? You're going to start paying landing fees and rent. See, eventually you ain't going to be able to afford to keep 25 ships at a location. Yeah, it's going to be a money sink. You're going to have a landing fee when you start landing. So when you go to that station, they may charge you $500, $1,000 SCU to be there. So if you're running 25 ships, you're going to drop 25 grand to keep all your ships there. You know, it might be cheaper to be at another location. And to your point, if you've got your own base building, well, now you can keep your ships there. Right? Don't cost you anything. You're absolutely correct.
Yeah, that's,
and we're
that's
moving
all
toward that.
say.
No, that's a good point. We're moving toward that. And it's good that you're saying that, because people, when things like this happen in the game, because people are so used to doing something and they say, why are they putting a limit on it? That's because they're moving us toward that. They also want you to put your ships at different locations in the game. That's another thing that's going to start happening, where you're going to have some ships in Pyro. You might have some ships in Stanton. You may have some ships in Goss or whatever, right? Eventually, that's what everybody's going to do, because you're not going to have all your ships at one place. Eventually, we're all going to have stuff kind of spread out, right? But they also do have to put a limitation on it, because, you know, there was a real issue back in the day before they came up with this storing your ship in the clouds thing. You guys remember that back in the day when there was a real problem with that? And they eventually made it so that you have to deliver your ship to that location. Fastcart's looking like you don't remember what I'm talking about. Fastcart, you don't remember back in the day your ships weren't in the cloud? Your ships were at your base? You had to, now you have to deliver them to your base.
Yeah, I know that now, but you just spawn them in your hand.
That's what I mean. They were in the cloud.
Okay,
I ain't talking about the spawning.
Right.
I'm saying before, your ships were in the cloud. They weren't at that location until you delivered them. Now you have to deliver it, then you call it up, right?
Okay. I believe you. I don't recall them being in the cloud, but that's me.
Almost, do you remember this? Does anybody in chat remember what I'm talking about?
I've only been here for 4 years.
Does anybody in chat remember what I'm talking about? Oh my God, am I getting old and forgetful?
No, because you came in before I did. So
no,
when I came in,
it wasn't that long ago. We're only talking a few years ago.
I don't call.
Do you all know what I'm talking about? Okay, maybe I'm cracking up. Maybe I'm having. Maybe I'm dreaming about some other game. But if I'm not mistaken,
now.
If I'm not. If I'm not mistaken, no, I'm not talking about the expansion thing. Yes, Square 2 is thank you, Square 2. I'm not crazy. This was only like about 4 or 5 years ago, guys. How did you guys forget this? Really?
Oh my
time. Goodness. Well, yeah, no, before your time was when it was only 25 people in a server. That was before your time. Okay. All right. Well, thanks, Almost. Thanks for dropping it on the inventory. Okay. All right. Let's get to this law and reputation. We are over by 25 minutes. Okay, we were both signed about this one, the law and reputation thing.
Yeah. Oh boy.
I think there are people who actually were looking forward to building reputation. One of the things, though, I think that people did not necessarily like is when your reputation can only be with certain people and not everybody. What are your thoughts about that?
I'm used to that from EVE Online. If you build your reputation with Caldera, you lose reputation with the Galente. If you build your reputation with the Minotaur, you lose your reputation with the Amara. I'm used to that. I mean, as far as I know, that's the only game I played that had something like that. And also with regard to law, you talk about Concord with law, or you talking about something else?
Well, I'm speaking of like right now in the game, when you go from jurisdiction to jurisdiction, from system to system, right, planet to planet, each planet has its own set of rules. Like there's some planets that say don't bring no human food bars, right? Or if you go to headhunters, if you're in with Citizens for Prosperity, you ain't got no good reputation with headhunters, they're going to shoot at you, right? Now, the reason why I'm saying this is because there were some people who remember when we did the thing for the race for Stanton, and remember people were able to do all 4 of the planets and get all 4 of the armors.
Right.
People don't like it when it's like choose one.
That was the other. That was the one after that, right? When you had to choose one of the factors.
Right. So, and that's my point. So, even though it was better to be able to go to all those planets, I think it's kind of cool. But I also think it hurt a little bit because I would have wanted, like, if you lived on lived on Hurston, then you should have been fighting for Hurston. You know what I'm saying? If you lived on Microtech, you should have been fighting for Microtech because that's your planet and you want the better taxation. You want your.
No, we're all about the looks. We're all about the aesthetics.
I get it.
We're all about the black and gold.
I get it. But see, again, that I don't get me wrong. I enjoyed that scenario, but that's a better scenario. It's not different. The different to me would have been much more like you said, like with Eve, because to say you've got to choose now, you got to pick a path, and that's the path you take. And if you don't like that peach armor that ArcCorp has, it'll rub off on you eventually. Okay. So anyway, all right, we're going to speed through the rest of these guys because we do want to wrap up. We've been having fun tonight. Cooperative gameplay. This is not new to gaming.
No, not new.
It's not new.
I don't feel like it's better or different in my opinion. Other games have it in different ways.
What about Star Citizen though, in comparison to other games? Do you think they're pushing for a better system of cooperation or a different version of cooperation?
Maybe it's different because everyone is on a ship. Okay, it's different that way. Everyone is on one ship and they're working together towards one goal. And you have other games where people have multiple ships trying to work to a goal. That's similar. But as far as working together on one ship, that's different.
Yeah. Now, it's interesting. This may be one of those cases that Face-to-Face brought up earlier. And it was his statement of saying, does different always mean successful? Right? And that is a question. Will multiplayer crewing be successful at this level? People multiplayer games all the time with other people. You and I were talking about D&D, right? You go out as a group in D&D. That's a form of multiplayer playing. But what happens in this scenario? Will this become successful when it comes down to ships, right? It sounds great on paper, but we'll have to see whether or not people embrace it, right?
I think people are embracing it. I mean,
I think people are
coming along. Yeah,
there are people who are. There are people that are.
Yeah,
absolutely. There are people already doing it, right?
Right.
But there are a lot of people who aren't or don't want to do it. You know.
Yeah, I wonder what the ratio for solo players versus cooperative players are at this moment, because it seemed like back in the day there seemed to be more solo players, but as time goes on, there seems to be more cooperative players. Is that how you feel?
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay.
Absolutely. Okay. All right. And the reason why I'm showing this particular scenario, for those of you guys who are talking about, I beefed about this already. People are talking about the Tiburon. Oh, the Tiburon can't do blah, 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 blah. Tiburon came out with 3 ships when they did their thing, not 1 ship. So if you're trying to solo that Tiburon, you're hurting yourself. Pay attention to what the CIG shows you.
Yeah.
Yeah. No. The Tiburon. Yeah, when they went out there and had that fight, there were 3 of them.
No, they had 3 Tiburons against one other ship.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. That's exactly what I'm saying.
You said they had 3 ships against the Tiburon. That's what I meant. But yeah.
Oh, did I say 3 ships against Tiburon? I thought it said 3 ships. Okay. 3 Tiburons against whatever the ship was. Absolutely. Thank you for that correction. Okay. Last one. Death of a Spaceman. This has been around for a long time. fastcart. Long time.
2013.
Yeah. Better way of addressing the way players handle their characters, or different way?
Different. Because other games have revived and resuscitations. That's been around for a long time. It's different in my opinion.
Now, we haven't seen this yet, though. We haven't seen it yet, right? In the sense of the character loss. I mean, the character loss. No, I mean the character loss aspect.
Oh, yeah.
Character loss aspect, right?
Okay, yeah.
Right. We've got an introduction to some of it with the DNA thing and all that, right? But we haven't had that permadeath aspect yet. How do you think people will?
Some people get knocked out of their sword, so maybe that's a different. No, I'm kidding. But how do I feel? I'm not looking forward to it. It's like when you lose that infinite bag of holding, like you just mentioned before, it's gonna hurt some people. Oh, people are gonna be crying like, oh man, that's gonna be a moment in time.
What can CIG do to make it? What can CIG do to make life valuable, but not death? Like make death, like, what's the word I'm looking for?
Like make people not want to backspace. Is that what you're trying to get to?
No, I'm trying to say having the fear of dying is important, because it helps you with choosing what you're willing to, how far you're willing to go, what you're willing to do. But at the same time, it needs to come back the other way too, right? And so my question becomes, what are the things they can do to help supplement that? Like, for example, CIG talked about you being able to get cybernetic parts if you take some type of mortal injury, right? Some difficult injury, right? Does it mean 3 lives, 5 lives, 6 lives, 10 lives before you die? Is there a randomness to it? Is it based upon the severity of your injury? Like, certain injuries you cannot come back from. It doesn't make a difference if you've got 8 lives on your list. You have a certain type of, like, let me give you an example.
If you get a headshot,
you get blown up. Yeah, you get blown up, right? You don't eject. You don't eject, right? You get blown up. Right. Do you come back, or is that it? And I got no problem with that. I just want to know, is that should you still be able to come back even if you get blown up?
I think Astropub has a whole thing about this. I forget the word that he used, but there's a certain level of a certain aspect. I forget the terminology, but once that you lose every mortal injury, you lose
a certain level of your essence from your DNA starts to gets depleted, or whatever. About that.
Right,
yeah. So it's only so many times with your DNA. So it's not contingent upon how you die. You're saying just the fact that you die, your DNA starts to break down over time.
Starts to break down. But Chris Roberts said just way back in 2014. I don't know if it's still the case. He was talking about Death of a Spaceman. He said that there may be certain ways to get it back if you're willing to spend money on it.
Right. I remember.
I don't know how much it's going to cost.
Right.
But yeah. So,
yeah, I do remember him saying something like that. Okay. Yeah. I think that this is a better way to play, but I think it's different. Right. I think the fact that, the uncertainty of surviving something and the risk factor of dying, raising that bar, you know what I mean? So that it's in the player's mind. Because obviously, like you said, right now we just know we just die, we wake up in the thing and we keep going, right? But knowing that there could be some type of something that comes out of that, I think is a better way for players to be more challenged in how they play and more strategic. but I also think it's different because it's going to make us calculate a lot more about, especially when it comes to multi-crewing, when you have to be concerned about other people who are with you. I think that's going to be another factor too. Some people may not care about their shipmates.
Yeah, that's true. Some people may consider that to be worse rather than better because they're so used to being like Call of Duty or whatever have you just resurrect and come back. They don't want to have to think about, oh, gotta make a whole new character. What's up with that? So yeah.
But there are gonna be some people who ain't Call of Duty people. There's gonna be some people who just been used to playing it like this all this time.
Right, that's true also.
And when that comes in, they're gonna be like, where did this come from? You know. Yeah, I don't know. We'll see how that goes when it's all said and done.
And then there'll be people like us saying, "Hey, it's been the plan the whole time, guys."
Yeah.
And then there'll be these YouTube videos saying, "Star Citizen getting worse." Everybody this. Yeah.
Yeah, I know. Okay. Well, okay. We've hit the end of the show today. Thank you guys. There's a lot of stuff here that we covered tonight. Just a few things. I'm sure there's so many more things that we could have talked about, but I think you guys got the whole point of what we're talking about, that we can see in a lot of cases, CIG is trying to do something different. And I think most of you who are here are probably just not looking for better. I'm sure there are plenty of us that are looking for better, but we're also looking for something different. And different, we said this at the beginning in our intro, different takes a bit more work. And it doesn't, I'm not saying it is an excusing for, you know, when CIG takes a lot of time to do something or anything else, but it is something for us to consider, that if we want this, what everybody else is doing, or if we want just improvements, then that's where the line is. But when it comes down to seeing something that's innovative and different, a lot of times that just takes time, you know, and let's just hope that they can make it happen in a faster way. That's my big, and in a better way too. I want better and different when it comes to Star Citizen. So thank you for those of you who dropped in tonight. Thank you. Hearing your voices again. We haven't heard voices in a while, and it's always cool when you guys jump in and talk with us, and we appreciate that. And speaking of, do we have any questions, fastcart, on the list?
Nope.
Okay, that's good. Okay, well, let's talk about.
Everybody got their questions out talking to us.
That's good. Let's talk about next week. We thought about pushing this off, but I think next week we're going to do this because the title for next week's show is Community Content, and it's not content. It's content, as in content, discontent. There's a certain sentiment that's going on within the community right now in relation to the state of Star Citizen, Squadron 42, CIG, and this happens from time to time. It ain't the first time. You know, this has happened plenty of other times. But right now we're kind of in the middle of it. And we know that CIG, as we mentioned earlier, is working on resolving some of the issues that are going on in 4.8.1. But in the meantime, we're sitting in the middle of it. And even if they do resolve it by next week's show, we still want to talk about it a little bit because there's some things that have happened on this particular moments of discontent that is very different to me. And next Sunday, we're going to kind of share some of this with you all and talk about it and see what you all think about it too. And also hear where you are when it comes to some of this stuff. So hopefully you guys will be able to join us. It's Father's Day next Sunday. I'm pretty sure we're going to do it because if I push it off to that following week, the community discontent might be gone. I don't know, Fastcart. You think we should just go ahead and do it next week?
I will be here for it.
You're free? All right. Then we'll
free.
be here next week. Okay, so hopefully you guys will be able to join us. But if for some reason it changes, just keep an eye on our social media, and we'll let you know if we're going to push it off for another week. Other than that, that's it. Again, man, thank you for everybody.
Oh, there's one more thing. New show.
Yeah. Oh, yes. Why don't you talk about that? Talk about it.
Okay, I'll talk about it. We started a brand new show called Soul Cinema, where we bring in guests who make the cinema and talk about different aspects of how the cinema comes to be, their background, what have you. We had a pretty good show yesterday. We brought in EE Studios, Nate and Kim Ellis, and they were lovely and had fun. And so yeah, that should be. It's still on. Is it still on membership or is it free?
It is free as of today. It's free. No, it's just overnight.
Okay, it's free forever. Mm-hmm. Okay, so yeah, check it out on our YouTube channel. It's called Soul Cinema, episode 1.
Yeah. So you guys, make sure you guys check that out. We're going to try and let you guys know some type of schedule of when those shows are going to come out, to keep your eye open for them. But we'll also post on social media My mistake. I didn't get anything out this week on it because it completely slipped my mind. And right when the show came on, I realized that we didn't have anything up on social media. But I did post something, and I saw some of you did come in after it went up. So thank you for those of you who were here for the first show yesterday and helping us launch that. We appreciate you. Other than that, again, next week, next Sunday, community content. Hopefully you guys will be able to join us for that. We are going to send you all over for a raid on. We haven't sent a raid over here in a long time. And he's eating dinner right now.
Yeah, he's eating dinner. I just saw that.
We're gonna send you guys over to Subliminal. He's on right now. He says he's working on his SC Companion app. So when you get over there with Subliminal, let him know that you guys came over from the Soul Citizens. He's a longtime content creator within the Star Citizen community. And hopefully we'll see you guys on next Sunday for those of you who are going to be here. Fastcart, thank you. Appreciate you as always.
Thank you for having me on.
All right, bro. Until next week, you guys take care of yourselves. Stay safe. Peace, love, and soul. See you soon.